morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Asset. We start with the latest where today we expect that Professor Kithure Kindiki will be sworn in as the new Deputy President. Now the ceremony will take place at the Kenyatta International Convention Center in Nairobi. Meanwhile, the head of public service Felix Koskei published the names of the members of the Assumption of Office of the Deputy President Committee, which will prepare for Professor Kithure Kindiki swearing in. The three-judge bench yesterday lifted an order blocking his swearing in as Rigathi Gachagua's replacement.
The applications for conservatory orders are hereby disallowed. 2. The conservatory orders issued on 18th of October 2024 in Keregoya High Court E015/2024 are hereby discharged and or set aside. Costs of these applications shall be incurred. We grant leave for appeal, type proceedings and certified copies of this ruling to be availed to parties at cost or as it may be. We will mention this matter on 7th of November 2024 at 2 p.m. in the open court. This ruling shall forthwith be uploaded in the court tracking system. That is the ruling of the court.
The three-judge bench also ruled that it was properly constituted.
While we acknowledge that this referenced decision pertains to the impeachment of a governor, we maintain that the same constitutional principles apply to the impeachment of a deputy president. And accordingly, we do hereby find and hold that this court has the jurisdiction to sit and determine the matter that is before it.
Gachagua's lawyers had argued that the bench had no authority to hear the case given that it was empaneled by the Deputy Chief Justice. Now the ruling came hours after the Court of Appeal declined to grant temporary orders suspending proceedings before the bench. Meanwhile, we spoke to you about the court's decision and this is what she said.
Mahakama imefanya haki. Nataka nishukuru Attorney General ya Kenya. Makesi zote za serikali zinafaulu. One, mambo ya finance. Huyo mama amejaribu sana, imerudi. SHA imerudi. Gachagua ameenda nyumbani. So Attorney General aendelee namna hiyo, angangane na hiyo watu kwa sababu kuna support kwa serikali ambaye hivi vitu yote nikiona Gachagua ndiye alikuwa anafanya.
Ngoa Gachagua, sisi tukutaka ngoe Gachagua, tulitaka uchumi fanya ni isimame. Na kama solution ni Gachagua kwa uchumi ni sawa. Tunatarajia yule ambao wanaapisha Kindiki fanyia wa Kenya kazi, si mlima. Inatoa ile funzo kusema ukiona boss yako anafanya usiende kinyume na boss.
Mimi nimefurahia. Wacha naye Kindiki aingia hapo, ndio tuone atafanya kazi gani. Because Gachagua alianguka mtihani. Wewe kutusi mtosi yako?
Kulikuwa na hatihati, rais akisafiri, nini kitakachojiri, IBC haipo pale, nini kitakachojiri, wapo jambo linaweza kutokea wakati huu. Kuambia Wakenya wenzangu tuheshimu mahakama, mahakama haiegemei upande yote, mahakama haishurutishwi, bali mahakama hutumia kigezo cha sheria na ushahidi iliyoko mbele yake.
Mimi mwenyewe nimefurahia. Na vile ambavyo nimetoa furaha kwa sababu tunataka Kenya iendelee mbele. Hatutaki tena kuzungushwa na watu ambao wanaona kwamba walishindwa. Sababu Deputy President anajua kabisa ya kwamba yale ambayo alifanyiwa kule Senate pamoja na Parliament ilikuwa ni sheria. Serikali ama watu ambao waliweka Kindiki walisubiri na walingojea kabisa, walifuata maneno ya mahakama. Mahakama imetoa hoja ya kusema ya kwamba hiyo conservatory orders iwe vacated, yani itolewe. Kwa hivyo mimi naunga mkono
koti kuamua tuapishe Kindiki. Ni serikali ikumbuke bado zile ahadi walituahidia, mambo ya matibabu, mambo ya shule. Hiyo ndio inahusu raia sana. Sisi ahadi yetu kwanza, wana bodaboda ilikuwa pesa mfukoni. Sasa hii hatuna chochote, washatoa. Ushuru iko juu. Wakituignore pia ni sawa, kwa sababu kuna time pia na sisi tutakuwa na nguvu yetu na tutasema kupitia kwa kupiga kura.
Sisi tunaunga mkono Kindiki apishwe, na kisha apishwa sasa William atafute sana Mungu ili Kenya irudi kwa mikono mizuri. Kwa sababu sasa ni kama imeyumba mahali. Kwa sababu Wakenya hawa ambao wamesema huyu Rigathi atoke, ni Wakenya wale pia watalia kama wamewachwa na njaa.
Mimi sioni vile koti imeamua kukiwa na shida, lakini baada ya serikali koti kuamua,
wewe tu uende nyumbani upowe na uende kanisa, na kwa sababu ni mama ni bishop, uende uombe tu Mungu na ukaa nyumbani, kwa sababu wewe mwenyewe ndio uliweka moto kwa kichwa yako. Kwa hivyo sisi tunakubali kama wakazi wa Turkana, tumekubali Kindiki aipishwe. Kama rais hawezi kaa siku mingi sana kama hajawekwa mtu. Kwa hivyo sisi tunasema tu watu wakaa na amani na watu waendelee bila ilikuwa.
Wakati ya siasa hiyo ya region institutional politics imeisha, sasa ni kasi. We want the deputy president to come to the office. Gachagua kama alikuwa impeached, aliye na wachane na kiti.
Kama wametumia haki si mbaya, kwa sababu hawa ndio wanasimamia sheria. Kindiki ni Mkenya kutoka Mount Kenya. Kwa hivyo kiti hicho cha makamu wa rais imerudishwa Mount Kenya.
Rigiji aende tu nyumbani bila alitolewa, apumzike, kazi nyingine atapata. Makazi iko mingi. Awachane na hii kitu ilishaisha. Serikali kukataa imekukataa na watu walisha kukataa kitambo. Mimi nashukuru kwa maana hakuna matata ambaye yote imetokea.
Those are your views. We shall be bringing you the latest as the swearing-in ceremony takes place. I'm Dennis Asset. Good morning.
So 1 hour is over?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. It gets over
Can you imagine
in 20 minutes.
What the big boys have also done?
Revenge is for children. It's for kids. When you grow up, you realize the best revenge you can take on somebody is to ignore them.
Now I'm just new in politics. It is not everybody's cup of tea. That's why some people come in one term and that's it for them.
Political parties in this country do not have ideologies, whether luring or otherwise.
And that is the effect of corruption.
Any time an offense occurs anywhere in the country, it is the job of the Inspector General to look into it. Whether it's corruption, whether it's murder, whether it's petty, that is his job.
If we have chosen to be a corrupt nation, then we produce corrupt leaders. Everything then becomes chaotic that you cannot be able to change a nation.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
3, 2.
Everybody, welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Latiff, Muga, Madam Du, nimesalamia wote sana.
Tumepokea salamu, asante sana.
Hapa Garissa today the weather is very good, only that baridi inatupeleka mbio sana.
The baridi ni degree ngapi hapa?
Hata sijui lakini madam tunakauka sana.
If you want to follow the money trail, you've got to think like a thief to be able to catch that thief.
A slap from a friend is better than a kiss from an enemy. You remember the kiss of Judas Iscariot? Iscariot.
Yes.
Is the one that imetuweka kwa hii mashida yote na mataabu. Kwa sababu of that kiss. Yet the slap of Jesus Christ when he slapped those guys wenye walikuwa wanauza mboga ndani ya kanisa took them to heaven.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
When you're impeached, you're impeached. When you're sentenced, you're sentenced.
Madam Chief Justice.
Until the sentence is set aside.
Ukibeba vitu kwa roho utakufa. If you carry things in your heart, you will die.
The reason for which you went to school and then gathered experience, that reason must be paid for.
Oh, right.
Oh, okay.
This level.
Shape up or ship out.
Levels don't change.
No. It's about shipping out. You're my business partner here.
Shipping out.
Are we talking about the ship in the bathtub? Or
the ship man?
One of Talabu used to tell us a story of they were in school and they'd been told to write composition about a ship. His classmate raises a hand. Teacher, are you talking about the ship or a ship goat?
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
The man who looks at a beautiful girl and doesn't talk to her will end up serving lunch at her wedding.
Aya, City, do like that.
My father has killed a mouse. Will he fail to kill a man?
Ameua panya.
Small mammal, big mammal.
Mtu atamshinda. I mean, I don't answer. What are they saying?
How are we comparison? I mean, you kill a mouse.
What are they saying?
What they're saying is, my father has killed a mouse. Will he fail to kill a man? Name, surprise. Someone's name.
The name surprised you?
No, the name is surprise.
No, what am I saying? I'm from Nigeria, man. I met somebody called I Believe. So your name is I Believe? Yes, my name is I Believe. But that's the short form. I said, excuse me? I said, yes. My name is I Believe. So what's the full name? I believe in the goodness of God.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
You tune into Kenya's biggest conversation. My name is Ramanya.
Amen. Amen.
So 1 hour is over?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It gets over
Can you imagine
in 20 minutes.
What the big boys have also done?
I'm very proud of myself.
When you understand about partnership in politics, it's like the way marriage is these days. When you're looking for a wife, you're like, oh, maybe you can help me pay for fees as I pay for the rent.
Why should you have a lioness living in your bedroom?
I have to tell you a story. I went for a prayer meeting, which was called for the spouses of candidates for senators and governors. And when I got to the gate, the lady who was the secretary, she refused to. She's telling me, no. Leo tunataka wa mama. Leo ni wa mama. I'm telling her, no. She said, no, sio siku yenu. And I thought, there's a problem here, because if it was a man, but this was a lady.
It will be called First Ladies until you change the name.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
It's critical that people pay taxes. But then taxation has to have a limit. When you start overtaxing people beyond certain limit, then this is now we call robbery with violence.
We are all struggling, but we don't show. If you're not doing well, shame on you. But you have to say, I'm broke and I'm struggling. We are not okay until everybody is okay.
We are pretending to have political parties. Why don't we just be honest? And we say, these are the Lydiahs, these are the Kambas, these are the Kikuyus, and we find ourselves in Kenya.
With politics and leadership, no matter what you do, there will always be a complaint. There will always be the assumption that you're either stealing or you're not doing things right. As a leader, don't fear. If you know you're doing the right thing, you've thought about it, you've got an expert advice, do it, then understand later.
This country, we don't need prayers. Prayers is between you and God. Good governance and thinkers who care about the country and not their stomach.
That's what we need.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Well, if you're anywhere on City Hall Way or Parliament Road or, around there, even Harambee Avenue, you will find traffic. Why? Because those roads are closed. Why? Because there's a very big event taking place there. But all other roads are open so that you can go there and find that one closed. So, just go there.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
You're here. Happy new month, new deputy president. Mambo inaenda namna hiyo Kenya. Hii ni Kenya.
Chap.
Hii ni Kenya, my friend. This is Kenya. If you thought this is another country, shauri yako. This is Kenya. How you doing, City?
I'm doing very well.
Happy November.
Well, happy November to you. You know, this is new to me. When our colleague Masimbona said Happy November, first of all, I don't know what is he talking about. But actually, it is the 1st of November.
It is, isn't it?
Yes, it's a new month greeting.
Yes.
Well, I guess she is absolutely right. If you have a New Year's greeting, why can't you have a new month greeting? At this rate, we're going to be having a new week's greeting, because new day greeting we have.
Imefika.
Habari leo baba?
Bas, fiti kabisa. Kuna shukuru tu.
Asante.
Jamani tunachukua.
No, it's good. It's a good way to end the week.
Kabisa.
With gratitude.
Kabisa.
Shukrani Mwenyezi Mungu. Asante.
Asante.
Yes.
As we end the week, we begin a new month.
Yes. We thank you.
Mingi, we thank you.
Yes.
There's a family that is from Tharaka Nithi that's also thankful. They have new residents. Wanaenda nyumba mpya.
And the way this thing works,
November.
I wonder whether communities receive this the same, because now this is a community thank you.
Yes, ndio.
Imefika kwetu.
Ndio hiyo. Imefika.
Aish. Hata sisi tuone vile iko.
Wameingoja for long.
Bro.
Since the Nithi votes of 207. Finally, the Nithi votes have paid.
And the Nithi votes have paid. Hi.
Finally, the Nithi votes.
The long road to
Bas.
Imefika.
Ndio hiyo.
Asante.
Ndio hiyo. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the end of the month. Welcome to the beginning of the month. Welcome to the end of the week. I think Rikiji deposit yake imeisha. Sasa anatoka leo. Alikuwa anakalia deposit.
Sasa deposit imeisha, sio?
Sasa deposit imeisha.
Yes.
Sasa ambu atoke.
Na hizi nyumba za serikali si dirisha, curtain, sofa, kijiko, si ya serikali?
Kila kitu.
Ni nguo yako tu na...
It's like checking out of a hotel.
Same. So hakuna shida.
Check out of hotel, unakuja hapa unapewa leave, unapewa sheet, unatoka nayo pale kwa askari.
Kuonyesha kwamba hujabeba towel.
Kuonyesha kwamba umeclear all consumable bills.
Yes.
Why? Even unahama. Anyway, we are going to have several conversations today, okay? Today is the 1st of November 2024 at 2024, yes.
Yes.
Our Health Friday conversation today is going to be on tiny hearts, big futures. Every premature baby deserves the chance to live and thrive. Now, this is a conversation about very many people who give birth to premature children. All right? What are the conditions that lead to premature birth? Are they avoidable? And then how do you take care of mother and child after birth? Founder and executive director of the Zuri Nzilani Foundation, Ashley Muteti, will be joining us at 7 a.m. so we can have this conversation and just get to understand what it means. 8 o'clock, we'll talk about inflation and what is happening, the impact of falling inflation on consumer behavior and economic recovery. We'll be joined by Dr. Gashie Steve. He's an economist, administration and management consultant. And at 9 o'clock, we'll have lawyer Elias Mutuma coming so we can look at public interest versus legal precedent. What's happening? That will be taking us into the end of the show and into the inauguration or the swearing in of Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki as the new Deputy President of the Republic. Lakini, did you see that efficiency by government yesterday?
Don't joke.
Things happened. Haraka haraka. Court says this. Next thing. Gazette. This is the assumption of office committee. Next thing, they have met. Next thing, President appoints Musalia Mudavadi, you acting Interior CS. Next thing, assumption of unique committee declares today is a swearing in, 10 a.m. KICC public from 10, between 10 and 2, just like the Constitution. Next thing, the acting Interior CS says, because the Constitution says Deputy President shall be sworn in a public holiday, tomorrow, holiday. To Kisonga.
Let me tell you.
There were no teething problems yesterday.
No. There were no delayed disbursements from Treasury.
Nothing.
There's no waiting for any funds from IMF. Nothing. Yet again, a testimony of what the government is capable of doing when they purpose to do it.
Oh, yes.
Okay, and raises the question of why don't they do this all the time? Because this efficiency that we saw and we've been seeing, this is what we voted this government for.
Yes.
To do just this.
Yes. Yes. This is what we expect all the time. So when you don't get it, you're like,
okay.
So ni nini basi?
Nini imefanyika hapa?
Ni nini basi?
Break imewekwa wapi?
Yeah.
Nani anazuia mambo?
Oh, you know, these are just teething problems. You know, some of these things, they require now a lot of, consultation. And it's multi-sectoral, multi-stakeholder, multi-everything, broad-based.
Multi-problematic.
22 after 6. So Ndu is still away. Hopefully she'll be joining us on Monday at 22 after 6. Let's take a look at the weather.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with SpiceFM.
Mostly cloudy in Nairobi, currently 16 degrees. The temperatures will rise to Abraham Kithure Kindiki's 26 later. Cloudy in Kakamega at 17, highs of 29. Mostly sunny in Mombasa at 26, highs of 32. Same thing, sunny in Malindi at 25, highs of 32. Kisumu, cloudy at 21, highs of 29. Partly sunny in Nakuru at 14, highs of 27. It's partly sunny as well in Nyeri at 14, highs of 26. In Eldoret, it's 13, highs of 24. Let's go around Africa. Heavy rains in Kampala at 18, highs of 30. It's cloudy in Kinshasa at 25, highs of 30. It's partly sunny in Johannesburg at 13, highs of 29. Clear skies in Lagos at 26, highs of 32. Partly sunny in Mogadishu at 26, highs of 31. I've never read it's cloudy in Mogadishu. Or it's raining in Mogadishu. Hey.
I'm sure it rains there from time to time.
Okay, we'll wait and see. Addis Ababa is cloudy at 14, highs of 19. Cloudy in Dar es Salaam at 25, highs of 30. Paris is foggy at 9, highs of 12. Cloudy in London at 12, highs of 14. Haze over Beijing at 18, highs of 20. New York is cloudy at 22, highs of 27.
Sure, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Watu ni wengi wako online, wacha tuwasalimie watu. Happy Kindiki Day. The best morning show in the whole of Africa. Not Africa, but Abed Mutai. World, buana. World. Why are you restricting? Do not limit it. Ken Korir, the government speed should be named Kindiki speed. We should forever hold the government action to this speed. Yes. We hope the deputy president will come and start chairing those committees. Chap like this, they move things. Was Kindiki the missing link? Government functioning again? We, mtu fulani. Raya, tuko na uwezo au hii kitu tuachie Mungu tu?
It isn't as though God is a switch. Atuna switch on and a switch off. God has been involved throughout. So usifikiria ati sasa ndio tunamwachia. Kama angekuepo mazee. Yale maovu ambao ungeaona wewe mwenyewe ungeshangaa. Yes.
King Dave says now is the time to welcome Gashago to Spice FM. Hot seat.
Sawa.
Akuje apasue mbarika.
Yes. Tutatafuta yeye.
Yes.
Tutaambia yeye.
Yes.
Tafadhali.
Tumu Life Channel says hi from USA. Love you guys. Good work on what you're doing every day. Asante sana. Zachary, okay. Hello, Spice family. Happy new month. New VP. It's our first day of snow in Minnesota. Zachary. Munakura Minnesota huko kuna snow. Lakini mumesoea paliti hapa. Mutasurvive tu. Margaret Wanjohi tunasema asante. Let's also celebrate the feast of all the saints today and commemorate the faithful departed tomorrow, 2nd November. All right. That's a good one. Linus Getoha Karibu, Irene Wairimu, Events by Morgan, Hannington Odur, Ibrahim Kimeli, Mutuma Nkonge, Anthony Njao, Sena / someone needs to go home. A Faxad Makori, good morning and happy Kindiki Day. Freelance Media Kenya, happy new month. Iran Dunda, Karanja Njehia, Nyadi Chukunzira, Nyinyi wote, Jimmy Munuthi, George Adimio, Sandra Sheria, Matthew Kedara, good morning, wonderful people. Today is a very sad day for the country. We must stand for what is right. Imposing a leader who is not duly elected is absolutely wrong. 2027 is not far. All right. Octane, Geoffrey, Watuni Wengi, Sonnet, Douglas, Anthony Mutunga, Robert Mbogo, Don Sabwa. When Parliament, IEBC, EACC, KRA, Judiciary are all perceived infiltrated, it's the state. Is that state capture? I don't know. Is that state capture, Dr.
Well, there's everything that they're doing.
State capture.
Capture. Well, they're doing what they're supposed to do.
State capture.
Interesting phrase, that.
Okay. Let's hear the final proverb from the state of Libya.
Yes. You know, one of the things that I wanted to talk about this morning is looking at the state of Libya and its history, okay, in ancient times. Well, it was from ancient times, fast forward, colonization came in, it was Italian Libya, okay? Now, it was under Italian rule. Then, 1951 to 1969, it became the Kingdom of Libya. Okay? Then, something happened. 1969, Muammar Gaddafi came in, and according to this, he extended his rule from, 1969 to 2011. The guy tried, Those are many, many years.
Yes.
The language they speak there is what they call Libyan Arabic. It's a dialect, but very many of the citizens of Libya are actually Arabs.
Yes.
But one thing that I wanted to mention about the history, which is interesting, in Libyan mythology, the name Libya was given to the daughter of the Egyptian king Epaphras. So this Libya seems to have had many names. Many people associated with the name Libya. So it's an ancient city, it's an ancient town, it's an ancient country, and so it has myriads and myriads of stories about it. Now the proverb: fish eats fish, and he who has no might dies.
Fish eats fish, and he who has no might dies.
Yes.
It plays itself out today.
It's, clearly. Sometimes even I marvel at this proverb.
You're like, you can just see Yola.
I'm thinking, Kwani, this proverb.
Is it current or is it ancient?
Yes, it's current or is it ancient?
Wow. Okay, in the headlines, what awaits Kindiki? That's a headline in the Standard. Abraham Kithure Kindiki will this morning be sworn in as deputy president to succeed embattled Rigathi Gachagua, whose fate was sealed in a judgment yesterday, lifting orders stopping the Interior CS's ascension. The decision was music to the ears of the establishment, but a body blow to the impeached DP, whose aggressive fightback has so far yielded 0 win. This is a quote from High Court Judge Anthony Mrima. We find that the constitutional framework does not envision any scenario in which the office of the deputy president would remain vacant except during the brief period required to fill a vacancy. So they said this one is not those ones where you can stay without a deputy president for a year. Absolutely no way. The constitution has put in safeguards. This is how this office becomes vacant, and it shall be filled within 14 plus 60 days is what? 74 days.
14 plus 16?
60.
That is 74.
The president has 14 days to nominate a new one. Parliament has 60 days to vote on that new one. That's it. Irony of Kenya's low inflation but empty pockets. The October inflation rate drops further to 2.7%. Inflation is at 2.7%, city. 2.7%. And we are still paying interest rates of Ngoma. What is this?
There's someone who's an expert in these things. When
he's coming.
We'll ask him to explain to us how these things work, because my understanding of inflation, if indeed it was that low, things should be easy to afford, life should be simpler, there should be money in our pockets galore, but none of those things are our lived reality currently. So this thing of inflation being whatever it is we're being told, we need to understand it. Yes.
Abductions soil Kenya's image, national page 2. This is quoting a statement yesterday by the ambassadors from the EU. and UK, who released a statement, raising concern about what they're seeing in terms of state of abductions. IMF's Kenya warnings as it releases 78 billion shillings. And then there's a lady called Millie Odhiambo Mabona. Millie Odhiambo is the current member of parliament for where? Suba where?
Is it East or West?
One of those. She became the only ODM woman elected in a single-member constituency, a seat that she successfully defended twice in 2017 and 2022. She has authored a memoir called Rig or Be Rigged, and this will be serialized in the Standard starting tomorrow. So buy yourself a copy of the Standard to get a bit of what Millie Mabona has written in her book. That's the Standard, the Daily Nation. Second in command, Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki, a former teacher of law, is set to occupy the second most powerful office in the country after the noisy and messy ouster of Rigathi Gachagua. This is after the High Court decision yesterday afternoon to remove the last hurdle on his way to taking the oath of office. They have the photo there of the three judges of the High Court, Justices Frida Mugambi, Eric Ogola, and Anthony Mrima, during the hearing of a petition challenging the impeachment of the Deputy President at the Milimani Law Courts. Also inside the Daily Nation today, Gashagua's fight for survival. Impeached DP is a man battling for his political life after the High Court lifted conservatory orders. Acting Interior CS in his first assignment as the acting minister, Musalia Mudavadi, declares today a national holiday. Mixed reactions. The High Court's decision to lift the order barring the swearing in of Kithure Kindiki received with mixed reactions. They have news from America. Cool America, elections are coming. People have already started voting. Okay? I don't know whether Jose Camargo has access to the server in America.
I don't know.
Because
where he comes from is not very far from America.
And he has managed American elections before. I don't know whether he's managing this time.
I don't know.
Anyway, U.S. polls and ramifications for Kenya from today. Read incisive analysis of the American presidential election scheduled for November the 5th. Professor Karega Mutahi, the man who chose his destiny. This former permanent secretary exemplified resilience and adaptability in a landscape often marred by political intrigue. He passed on, was it this week or last week?
I'm not sure.
Last week,
But he
I
did
think.
pass on.
Yeah, so they are looking back at the life and times of Professor Karega Mutahi, who was a former PS in charge of education in Kenya. City?
The Star.
Yes.
Of course, KCSE exams to continue as Kindiki takes oath of office. Msifikiria in the holiday, there are no exams. There are what?
This thing cannot disrupt a program that was arranged a long time ago.
Yep. President Ruto appointed COMESA vice chairman. All right? And the Burundian president is there to chair. Masikia hiyo bwana? Okay. 2 ex-NYS staff charged with plot to defraud 715 million in 2015. Yani 2015, 9 years ago. This is what happened. And it has caught up with you today. My friend.
Wow.
Mudavadi declares Friday a public holiday. We've got that one already. And then this is the newspaper. At Kindiki to be sworn in as DP on Friday at KICC. It's Friday today. So we know it's going to be sworn in today. But let's look at bang in the middle of the paper. Okay? Change of guard. Out goes Gachagua. In comes Kindiki. He will take oath of office on Friday, anytime between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. My goodness. We are adhering to the constitution. Chap.
Wameandika 9 a.m.
Imeandikwa hapa vizuri sana. Between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. Imeandikwa hapa.
It should be 10 a.m.
According to the Star.
Hapo ndio wameandika.
Wameandika hivyo. Si mimi nimesema.
Wamekosa.
Haya. Yes. Hapo. And then hiyo ni point 1. Wacha niende kwa point 2. Business Daily. Business Daily inasema hivi. Kuna mambo mengi hapo kwa Business Daily bwana. There are many things here in the Business Daily. AGOA future on balance as US votes. The suggestion here, of course, is that the extension of the African Growth and Opportunities Act, AGOA, hangs in the balance as the U.S. heads to the polls next Tuesday. Widows takeover of giant laundry firm blocked by court. The court has blocked a widow from taking over the directorship or the dictatorship of the 70 million family-owned laundry business in Nairobi, okay? KCB to sell land seized from Portland Cement, okay? Investors reap 2.7 billion profit from infrastructure bond. All right. Now
that thing is going to be... You know where that land is? There are very many squatters. Very many. This is Portland land.
Portland land, what will Ingilia Kitambo?
Yeah. It's as you heading towards Machakos.
Yes.
You see on the left, Green Park Estate. Next to Green Park Estate.
That open space.
That open space that used to be open space.
See, but I've seen them putting fence, wall.
People have built very many things there, permanent homes.
It's no longer that open space.
There's no open space.
I haven't been there in a while then.
Yeah. It's yeah. So KCB is basically saying, all of you who are here, you get first right, you can purchase. Okay.
Anyway, that's a good way of looking at it.
The other thing is, though, that this person says, I bought this land. I already paid someone to buy the land. Now the owner comes and says, now pay.
I've already paid, and you're being told, look, let's understand this. We own the land. Now, if you donated money to someone,
that's okay.
That's you and that person, okay? And you know the person, you go to that person.
You can go to that person.
Yes. For us, this is what we are saying, and this is what we want.
Yes.
And it's not complicated. Right. Back in the middle of the paper, tax pain signal in new 78 billion shilling IMF loan deal. Raising more revenue, a condition for lenders' multi-billion shilling loans plan. This approved disbursement lower than the expected 113 billion by the Treasury. So, wamepewa discount. Walikuwa nataka 113, wamepewa 78. Yes.
Hiyo ingine mkuja tutadiscuss
baadaye. Hiyo ingine utakuja baadaye bwana.
The Nairobian?
Sorry. Let me just look at the Nairobian. This one is interesting. Murder most foul. The final days of killed Treasury official revealed. This is a story on page 6 of the paper. Okay? This is not pleasant at all. At all. Osinde's decomposed body was found in Kuja River, Migori, 28th June 2023. Okay? And there's a gentleman called Julius Mogoi Ogao before Justice Helen Nyaga, Nakuru High Court. He's charged with the murder of former Treasury official Tom Osinde. Sawa? Right. Kisumu, reign of terror gang as citizens are robbed and killed. This is a story on page 14. This story is not going away. It didn't start yesterday. We've had this complaint now for some time. Nicknamed Jodimbo, the gang has been terrorizing residents even in broad daylight.
In broad light?
In broad daylight. Yeah, wait, you're confusing me. The name means those who beat severely.
Jodimbo.
Yes. It feels as if law enforcers are on strike. Streets once busting are now deserted due to fear. Nairobi Road, Stadium area, Polytechnic Road, Obote Road, and key commercial areas like Kibuya and Mandeleo markets are overrun with crime. Okay? Bang in the middle of the paper. No, bang on the side of the paper. Blogger and scribe Maverick abduction is causing jitters. Okay? She stopped posting, has disappeared, and somebody said, me, I'm the PA. She has disappeared.
Yeah.
All right, this is somebody by the name of Maverick Okoh. Bang in the middle of the paper, bust to dust. Priestess who brought Jesus to Kawangware bows out. Remember there was this prophetess called Mary Akatsa. Okay? It's being said controversial preacher brought an Asian Jesus to her church, performed wedding ceremonies between the living and the dead, and transformed self-confessed hardcore criminals, killer criminals, into preachers of the gospel. But away from her simplicity, Dada Mary was a shrewd business lady who amassed wealth with millions of shillings, with prime parcels of land in Karen, Runda, Ruai, Luanda, and Kawangware. The Lord giveth.
With Jesus by her side.
Yes.
Jesus from Asia.
From Asia, yes.
Every so often, my mom reminds me of a story of how. So in Kimana, at the Anglican Church in Kimana, they received a visitor who had come from Nairobi, dressed the same way this Mary Akatsa used to dress, headcloth and in long dresses. And she had come and she asked to be given an opportunity to speak. And she came and said, you know what, I'd like to speak and tell you I've been sent by Prophetess Maria Katsa to come and pass a message to the people of Kimana that Jesus has come. And the Reverend was like, okay, that message is not for here. If anybody would like to listen to your message, you wait until we finish our service. Out there,
Sema,
you can pass the message. So out there, people went and gathered. Okay, so let's listen to this woman. Mama akasema Yesu amekuja ako Kawangware. Na Mama Mary Katsa amesema anaponya watu magonjwa. You know, all those things. Anafanya miujiza. Manake Bwana Yesu hata amemuona, hata sisi tumemuona. So people are like, wewe umeona Yesu? Yesu wako Kawangware. Anaishi na sisi huko Kawangware. So mother says, so she stood there, she listened, so she asked, so unasema Yesu analala kwa nyumba ya mabati Kawangware? We mama, waacha kuleta hiyo maneno yako hapa. We kama hutaki kusikia maneno si utonge.
The businesses that we do in God's name.
My friend.
Right.
Yes, alikuwa Kawangware.
Yes, na akaonekana.
Na akaonekana na watu.
Yes, na kafanya miujiza.
Kumbe it was an import. Me, I have 2 papers. The People Daily, teachers demand standing allowance.
As opposed to sitting allowance, I presume?
Yes. Wanasema, wanataka standing allowance. And then the main headline in the paper today is Power is Transient. President Ruto lays the red carpet to coronate law professor as deputy president after impeached Gachagua suffers fatal blow in effort to save his political soul. That is the People Daily. We have the word Taifa Leo. Taifa Leo, pale juu wanasema mabalozi wa EU wakemea utekaji nyara, wataka rais ahakikishe polisi wameheshimu sheria na kukomesha utekaji nyara. Right? This is a statement yesterday by balozis from where? From the EU. Halafu nini? Wameweka picha ya balozi moja hapa anaitwa Meg Whitman. Meg Whitman wa nchi gani?
USA.
USA iko EU?
No. Wow, EU yao inaitwa USA.
Watu wa Taifa Leo bara ni huko nje. Bara ni mzungu.
So long as ye ni mzungu na ni the European from America.
Weka picha.
Yes.
Haya, Safaricom yakiri kutoa data, lakini kampuni ya mawasiliano yakanusha kutoa maelezo kusaidia utekaji nyara. Mabunge ya kaunti zote kugoma. Muungano wa mabunge ya kaunti, that is the County Assemblies Forum, walalamikia kupotea kwa diwani wa Wajir. So all county assemblies are saying that they're going to down their tools for a bit. Unasikia? So that we discuss this matter of the missing Wajir MCA. Harris Trump wakita kambi majimbo makuu, walipeleka kampeni zao kwenye majimbo yenye ushindani mkubwa. Haya, bangi katikati ya gazeti. Sio? Hii imeenda. That's the headline. Hii imeenda. And then they have Rigathi Gachagua there. Amekaa hivi, ameweka mikono hivi. Hata yeye ameashia Mungu. Ameashia nani? Ameashia Mungu.
Mungu afanye nini? Atawale.
Atawale. It's 6:45. Let's take a look at the traffic.
This is the Situation Room.
0444.
If you'd like to witness the swearing in of new Deputy President Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki, all roads are clear coming towards town. Of course, you don't expect that City Hall Way is going to be open. You also should not expect that Harambee Avenue and Taifa Road are going to be open. You also should not expect that Wabera Street is going to be open. Sawa, just tumia nini? Tumia akili mtu wangu. So Parliament Road, obviously City Hall Way, obviously Taifa Road, Harambee Avenue and Wabera Street is going to be having a bit of a traffic flow restriction. But then all the other places, you come bwana.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right. The issue of abductions has taken the spotlight here. Kenya's international reputation is under scrutiny as actions by certain state security agents toward government critics have drawn warnings from the European Union, with member countries cautioning against human rights violations. Yesterday, 9 diplomatic missions raised concerns over reports of arbitrary arrests and disappearance of persons in Kenya. The envoys were drawn from Finland, Denmark, Germany, Ireland, Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, Switzerland and the British High Commission. They issued a joint statement decrying the continued arbitrary arrests and disappearances despite court rulings. They said Kenya's constitution and national legislation set out the rights and fundamental freedoms to which each of its citizens are entitled. This is what a statement said. We note with concern ongoing reports of arbitrary arrests and enforced disappearances despite high court rulings. Similarly, it establishes the Bill of Rights, a framework for its economic and social policies, with envoys saying upholding human rights leads to stability and prosperity. They said, as active members or observers to the Council, will support Kenya in corralling the political will necessary to effect change. What council are they talking about? They talked about the United Nations Human Rights Council, where Kenya was elected. And they said that we'll support Kenya in all this. All right? The envoys issued the statement just a day after U.S. envoy to Kenya, Meg Whitman, said she had heard allegations that mobile phones are being used to locate people who are then arrested. Although she distanced herself from the issue, she, however, stated that the rule of laws of privacy and rule of law around rights of a private citizen should be respected in democracies. All right? So the ambassadors and the envoys have talked about all these manenos. They also quote here Martha Karua, who on Monday had claimed that the spate of abductions could be state-sanctioned, observing that persons with contrary opinion to the government have seemingly been targeted. The Kenya Kwanza administration came to power on a campaign of lies and deceit led by Ruto. He tells us there will be no more abductions, yet the numbers continue to increase. They quote Martha Karua's appearance on the Situation Room on Monday. Now, this is definitely going to elicit some reaction from the Foreign Affairs Ministry, obviously, right? You can expect that the PS for Foreign Affairs, Dr. Career Sigei, is definitely going to react. I expect that he's going to write a letter to them. Your Excellencies, we note your letter raising concern about perceived human rights violations in the country. Indeed, as you stated in your letter and statement, may I wish to remind you and state categorically that the Kenyan Constitution is lauded globally as one with the most robust Bill of Rights, where the rule of law and observance of human rights is entrenched in the supreme law of the land. Indeed, Your Excellencies, I also wish to remind you that our Constitution establishes the National Commission on Human Rights and various other organs and institutions to safeguard the rights of every citizen and any person visiting our country. Atawambia, hii mambo yote mnaongea ni yenu.
This is not the first
I am
time.
sure you'll appreciate that sometimes matters of crime left to the relevant authorities to investigate, just like in your own countries when crime runs amok. And then he'll conclude that they think they usually write for each other with wishing you the highest esteem of the highest regards, whatever they write.
Yes. This isn't the first time that we have heard or we have seen pictures being taken of envoys from the European Union making statements on certain subjects. The question is, what effect does it normally have? What effect have we seen it having? Or is this the culmination of some behind those conversations that they have had and an understanding that they've arrived at? So now they're simply saying, look, folks, as valuable partners, we are simply saying, guys, this thing is beginning to be a bit of a problem. Please.
Sort it.
Just sort it out, please.
Deal with it.
But this one is a little more complicated than the others because This public statement comes after a clearly documented visit by 3 very, very, very distinguished individuals. Head of FBI, head of MI6, head of CIA. Now, they have probably come for matters that concern them, okay? But that isn't entirely true, because it was quoted in yesterday's papers that they also mentioned that, folks, this thing of people disappearing and abductions and blah and blah and blah, not good. Not good. Doesn't help image, it's not useful. Sort it out. But at the same time, we're told they want to create, they're thinking of building new military installations, God knows where, help with communication, blah, blah, blah. A picture was taken with the NIS director, so they want to strengthen that as well. Okay, we get it. It's not that we don't get it, we get it. My question is, this thing has been going on for some time. Why are you talking about it now? Why are you coming at the tail end of it? Huh? Or is this how you go about it? When it is clear that things are beginning to change, that's when you come in and talk. I mean, what are we seeing exactly?
I want to see the outcome of it, of the sustained pressure, whether it's actually going to reduce. Because what needs to happen is these abductions need to stop.
No, these things need to stop last week, man, and the week before that, and the week before that.
Yeah, basically, and it needs, if it takes everybody to highlight it, we are game. If only just talking, just like Faith Adhiambo was saying, we just have to keep applying the pressure. Talk about it from in whatever space that you are in, and remind everybody that, you know what, you don't know. You could be picked up. You don't know.
That is absolutely true. That is, but I think that is precisely the point. It can't be fearful if you can predict it. If you are not certain whether it will be you, then the goal is achieved. You are afraid, and if you're afraid, you will be afraid to talk.
So that means, yes, you keep quiet.
Yes, and which means that they will have succeeded. Out of the blue, someone is picked up and you don't know where they are. All these are tactics that are supposed to ensure that fear is instilled and that people don't do things that the supposed those who are involved do not find palatable. Man, people are really poor students of history. These things were done before. What do you think came out of it? A new constitution. The new constitution was born on the embers of such goings on in the 1990s. People said, no, enough is enough. This one, we need to enshrine certain things in our constitution so that people don't get away with such things. And yet here we have people who think they're going to get away with these things, and the constitution clearly and categorically speaks on this matter.
Yep. The guy who has been in charge of security is now going to be the guy who is the deputy president. Okay? We shall see. Maybe him exiting the interior docket will actually bring somebody there who can sort it out. Or hopefully, if he goes to a higher office, then he'll have more authority to actually exert pressure. He is a professor of law and rights. Okay? School managers held over fake CAPSEA papers. Now, surely, imagine. Counseling has been suggested for the 23 children who sat fake papers at an Eldoret school in the just concluded Kenya Primary School Education Assessment CAPSEA. Silver Bell Junior Academy Director Margaret Atola and Indasi and head teacher Donald Wikana Lumwaji appeared in the Magistrates Court in Eldoret yesterday. State Counsel Jamlek Mureithi objected to an application to free them on bond, urging the court to consider the plight of the children. Chief Magistrate Dennis Mikoya directed the two to be detained at Eldoret Central Police Station following an application by investigating officer Inyasio Moneki. Indasi and Lumwaji were taken in for questioning by officers from Aina Beach Police Station on Wednesday. Investigating officers made an application to detain the two. Now, tunapatia story mingi ya court. So basically, these are the children who 23 of them sat a paper at in a school. Then it turns out that the school is not even a registered exam center. And the question still comes to me. So is the school registered as a school? And these are CAPSEA papers. That is grade 6. So from the moment they were in grade 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6, where were the education officials?
Have these people been arrested?
They have been arrested. They were in court.
Okay. Have they arrested education officers in that region?
That's the thing. Because the education officer who should have ensured that these children do not even start sitting an exam, the education officer who knew they have sat an exam, should have known they should not be sitting an exam.
Eric, how do you have a situation where students move from Standard 1 and get up to Standard 6? And you are not certain about their status as a school, and you're not certain about their status as an examination center. Surely. No. The education officers have to answer for this one.
Yeah.
You have to explain.
Yeah. I think they should be there alongside these two, the director and headmaster. The education officer should be in court.
Yes, they should be.
23 children sat for 6 years.
No. You know this thing about tinkering with children's lives, these things are abhorrent. You are deliberately killing someone's future.
Now they have to be taken through counseling.
These children, yes, and that is the process that will help them out, because these children knew they were sitting for exams like other children. They have friends who are in other schools. They're talking about the exams. And then you're told, no, man.
And then you know, everybody will be telling you, where will you find your exam fake?
No.
At that age,
no.
You go into grade 7. Where to find your exam?
I know children now.
Where will you go exam fake?
You know how children.
Should enemy fake?
You know children now.
My friend.
No. The court should not be lenient with these people.
Yeah.
This one, there's no leniency. There's nothing like you're a first-time offender. There's some offenses once you commit, you might as well have committed 20 of them at the same time.
It's in Eldoret where Professor George Magoha, the late Magoha, went
same place
and told director of education, wewe ni somewhere in blood stupid.
Yeah, remember we talked about it and I said, as far as I was concerned, the professor was describing the person, not insulting him.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was just saying, if I said that you are hopeless, what word did he use though? Was it stupid?
No, he
Mjinga.
It wasn't Mjinga. He made a statement.
Was it Kumbaf?
No. If I recall, I can't recall the exact phrase, but it alluded to a diminished capacity to think.
Yes. same county.
Yes.
And now we are seeing at fake exams. Apana.
And that's supposed to be just news. It can't be just news. No.
Time for the news. It's 7 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Professor Kithure Kindiki is said to be sworn in as the new deputy president today. The swearing-in ceremony will take place at the Kenyatta International Convention Center in Nairobi. Meanwhile, Head of Public Service Felix Sigei published the names of the members of the Assumption of Office of the Deputy President Committee, which is preparing for Professor Kithure Kindiki's swearing-in. Earlier, the three-judge bench lifted the orders blocking the swearing-in of Kithure Kindiki.
The applications for conservatory orders are hereby disallowed. 2. The conservatory orders issued on 18th of October 2024 in Keregoya High Court E015/2024 are hereby discharged and or set aside. Costs of these applications shall be in course. We grant leave for appeal, type proceedings and certified copies of this ruling to be availed to parties at cost or as it may be. We will mention this matter on 7th of November 2024 at 2 p.m. in the open court. This ruling shall forthwith be uploaded in the court tracking system. That is the ruling of the court.
The three-judge bench also ruled that it was properly constituted.
And we acknowledge that this referenced decision pertains to the impeachment of a governor. We maintain that the same constitutional principles apply to the impeachment of a deputy president. And accordingly, we do hereby find and hold that this court has the jurisdiction to sit and determine the matter that is before it.
Gachagwa's lawyers had argued that the bench had no authority to hear the case, given that it was impaneled by the Deputy Chief Justice. The ruling came hours after the Court of Appeal declined to grant temporary orders suspending proceedings before the bench. We're following up on this developing story from around 9 a.m. when the swearing-in ceremony is expected. We shall be bringing you the very latest in a subsequent news bulletin. Now, President William Ruto has appointed Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs Diaspora Mudavadi as the acting Cabinet Secretary of Interior and National Administration. Ruto made the announcement through an executive order published in a Gazette notice yesterday. Mudavadi will succeed Professor Kithure Kindiki, who will be sworn in as Deputy President today. And the Ministry of Education has announced that the ongoing Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education exams shall proceed as planned, despite today being declared a public holiday. Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migos, in a notice, said that the latest declaration of Friday as a national holiday to mark the swearing-in of Professor Kithure Kindiki as Deputy President would not interfere with the schedule for Form 4 candidates sitting for the KCSE exams. CS Ogamba directed all stakeholders involved in conducting the KCSE examinations to report to their duties as usual to ensure a seamless exercise. We equally wish all the KCSE students the very best as they write their exams. Now, sounding a clarion call against female genital mutilation in Kenya, women's rights organization Nguvu Collective, Kewopa and Anti-FGM Board Kenya joined hands to launch a collective fight to eradicate the human rights violations from the country through a creative campaign dubbed Break the Blade. Launching the campaign, Preeti Haman, CEO of Nguvu Collective, explained that the efforts to end FGM cannot exist in isolation and that it is collective action. Bernadette Loloju, Anti-FGM Board CEO, on her part, said for the vice to be curbed, it's important to ensure that girls are in school. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Asseto. Good morning.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
Long weekend traffic will be heading out of town. So let me just tell you about the traffic within Nairobi CBD. CBD is looking just busy because people are still doing their thing. So obviously this area around Accra Road, that is Tirumu, and the areas around there are very, very busy because people are leaving town to go for the long weekend. So if you look at those areas, Nyamakema is busy. In Landis Road, you can see the Machakos bus station is very busy. Pumwani Road is busy, heading towards Mathare and into Nairobi River because people are heading out of town. Watu wanaenda Kumabasi. Now, the roads within the CBD, now this will be around City Hall Way and Haile Selassie, not Haile Selassie, but yeah, Harambe Avenue, City Hall Way, Taifa Road are obviously going to be busy because of the public event that's going to be taking place at the KICC. All other highways into and out of town, clear for now.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Happy November, happy Kindiki Day. Are we calling that? It's Kindiki and Diwali and all those things. So happy Kindiki Diwali.
Well, history is being made here.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Yes, it is.
And we can say anything and whatsoever it is that we like to say. But we are seeing the robust nature of our constitution, and we are getting to talk about it, and we're actually beginning to see it in action.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So our show continues, and we have several things to talk about. But first of all, let's tell you about Tala. All right? Tujijenge na Tala. Why? Because Tala, like we said, in Kikamba, in Kitaita, in all those languages. What is Tala, Ashley, in Kikamba?
No.
Count.
It's a place.
Kotala.
It's to count.
Kotala. It's Kotala. Kotala. Count. Counting. Now Tala is, I'm sure you know Tala, Ashley. You've heard of Tala. You've seen Tala.
Yep.
Yes, Tala is one of those digital lenders, regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya, licensed as well by the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner, and all those things are important because as you sign up for Tala, you are signing up basically and saying, I can ask you to lend me some money. And so it's a relationship that is based on trust. So why should I lend you money? I will lend you money because you have allowed me to look at how you are basically behaving. And how will I know how you behave? Just by giving me a bit of access to your data. And they'll tell you, this is the data that we have access to, and this is what we will do with it, which is just using it to gauge when you're applying for a loan. They will not ask you for a title deed, for a left lung, for a logbook, for nothing of the sort. They'll just say, all right, so how much do you require? 5,000 shillings. We assess you. We see, all right, so 5,000 is good enough. We can trust you with 5,000 shillings. When will you pay it? Between 1 and 61 days. When do you want to pay it? So with Tala, you're the one who determines and says, I want to pay within 45 days, or I want to pay in 20 days, I want to pay in 5 days, in 10 days. Even if you said you want to pay in 40 days and you pay by the 10th day, that's fine. And it works well for you. It also improves your rating. So the next time you come and ask them for 6,000 shillings, they tell you, yeah, we can lend you 6,000. Actually, your limit now is 7,500. You want to take the entire 7,500? No, I only need 6,000. Okay, take your 6. When do you want to pay it back? I want to pay it within the next 15 days. Okay. If you get to the 15th day, you pay. And so on and so forth. And they say, Tala is your companion. You see all those things that we're talking about? It's because at some point you will need money and you do not have someone to call. You don't have float in your M-Pesa.
Yep.
And your bank account is at that point where the bank tells you, wait, watch your jokes. Surely.
Negative.
Hata wewe. Hii ni account yako unaulizia maya mtu mwingine because yako haina kitu. See? So, think of a companion, a financial companion that you want to walk around with. Download Tala from Google Play. City, please tell us about studying in Ireland. Yeah. And you said there is an Irish embassy in Kenya.
Yeah, there is an embassy, and it's somewhere in Parklands, in High Ridge, a place called Manyani Road. Okay? Now, as matters around this particular subject would have it, there is a fair taking place. Fair being F-A-I-R. Okay? No, not fair. Not taxi fare. Fair. Okay? Right. So the official study in Ireland fair is brought to you by Cradle, spelled C-R-A-Y-D-E-L. And it will be at Gallant Mall, Parklands. Now, how do you get there and how do you ensure that you benefit from this fair? Well, you have to register. Cradle.com. That is how you register. And once you register, you will be able to get admission, and you then can benefit from direct access to top universities in Ireland, discover Ireland's career opportunities, and get expert advice on visa guidance. Okay? Those will all be available. Now, the participating universities are quite a number, so let me mention a few. There's Griffith College, University of Galway, Ndu's favorite, University of Limerick, Dublin City University, Technological University of the Shannon, Independent College, and University College Cork. All these are quality universities in Ireland. Yes.
All right. So the person that we've been talking to here on the side Kidogo is Ashley Muteti. Ashley is the founder and executive director of the Zuri Nzilani Foundation. You'll tell us more about it. And you told us November is what month?
World Prematurity Awareness Month.
World Prematurity Awareness Month.
Yes.
Prematurity in what?
Premature babies. So this month we are celebrating all premature babies. Babies born too soon.
Okay.
Yes.
There's a lot of many questions, including what is babies born too soon? What does that mean? How do we get there? And then why do we need to actually keep talking about this? Welcome to the show. We'll discuss all this very soon. First of all, CT will give you the day's proverb. This week, the proverbs have been from the state of
Libya. Libya.
Okay.
Did you know that Libya was once an early Christian center in the 5th and 6th century?
No.
Well, even I didn't until I started reading into this. So do not fear, you're not alone. Eric, remember earlier on you mentioned the internationality of this particular show. Yesterday, I got a call at around 10 o'clock.
PM or AM?
PM. There's a friend of ours called Dr. Okoh. He's in Burundi and he was talking to a friend of his who's Canadian but DRC by origin. And why they called at that particular unearthly, ungodly hour was to tell me that this gentleman watches the show every single day.
From where? From Canada? From Burundi?
From Canada.
From DRC?
From Canada.
Okay.
And I actually even got to talk to him.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good.
So I thought I would mention that.
Canadian is DRC from origin.
DRC, but he's now Canadian.
Lives in Canada.
Yes.
But he was speaking to you from Burundi.
He's speaking out from Burundi.
Well,
the internationality of this whole thing.
Very, very, very.
Kabisa, the proverb. Fish eats fish, and he who has no might dies.
Fish eats fish, and he who has no might dies. Ashley, what do you think this proverb is saying?
Oh, wow. Fish eats fish. And?
He who has no might dies.
I don't know. A battle or something?
The beauty of an interpretation by you, meaning it has to be your understanding of it, not what you think our understanding is. You can't possibly be wrong even if you try. Yes. So tell us what you think.
Thinking maybe a battle.
Okay.
Yeah.
A battle.
A fight.
About what?
Trying to think fish is not as strong.
Don't think too hard. Just go with the flow, whatever comes to mind.
Fish eats fish. And?
He who has no might dies.
Wow, that's a challenging. What do you think, Eric?
It doesn't work like that. That's not how it works.
No.
Oh my God! It's
actually
wow, it's 7 a.m. guys.
It's not an exam. Okay. You
said it's a battle.
Okay.
A battle between what? Between fish. Fish eats fish.
Yeah.
He could be the fish here. He who has no might dies.
I think fish doesn't have strength.
Okay.
That's what I would think.
That's what you'd think?
Yeah.
So because it doesn't have strength, what happens to it?
The death part comes to play.
They die. Okay. Because fish has no might.
Yeah.
It dies.
Point well made.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell us.
No, that's your interpretation. It's your interpretation that we're interested in.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But since you ask, think about it. Fish does eat fish. Okay?
Yeah.
Anything that is in water, fish will eat. Okay? But when they say he who has no might dies, big fish feed on small fish. Bigger fish feed on big fish and the small ones. How do you relate that to mankind and how we go about our affairs? You've heard of a man-eat-man society?
True, yeah.
Okay. You can carry on with your thinking from there.
Okay.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Meona?
Yeah.
Meona?
Yeah.
Very good.
I can see it clearly.
Very good.
Thank you so much for that.
So, premature babies, how do you define that?
Premature babies are babies born before 37 weeks or before 35 weeks, all the way maybe to 26. There are women who have given birth to babies at 26 weeks, which is around 6 months gestation. Yes, so that's how we categorize preterm babies.
Okay.
Yes.
So is that the same? Can we interchangeably use those words, preterm and premature?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
I mean, it's one and the same thing.
What causes children to be born premature?
There are a number of causes, one being the second leading cause of maternal deaths, which is preeclampsia, hypertension in pregnancy. That's one. We also have infections, nutrition deficiencies. Yeah, these are some of the key things that actually are the leading cause of premature births. Yes.
So tell us about the Zuri Nzilani Foundation. What is it all about and what do you do?
Great. So my name is Ashley. I am founder and executive director at Zuri Nzilani Foundation, which is a non-profit organization that is leading a transformative movement in maternal and newborn health with the aim of reducing maternal deaths and enabling well-being. Our work is in underserved areas, and we have our key pillars being training, social support, advocacy, and research. Yes.
Why was it founded? When did you found it?
In 2019, after my own personal experience with severe hypertension, in which I gave birth to a preterm premature baby at 30 weeks, around 7 months gestation. And it was a pretty... pregnancy is bliss. You don't think you'll have any complication. I even in my circle, I've never seen anyone who has suffered as a result of being pregnant. And personally, I was admitted in hospital for a full month because I was pregnant, and it never occurred to me. And after I gave birth at 30 weeks, my baby, Zuri, stayed in hospital for 49 days and succumbed to prematurity complications. And that has been my driving force to really talk about these issues around maternal complications and newborn health. And even in my second pregnancy, and actually all my pregnancies, I have experienced preterm birth. My second baby was born 975 grams and stayed in hospital for 3 months just to observe until she was 2 kgs and we were released. And my third baby was 35 weeks. That one is a bit fair and was born 2.3 kgs. So that my journey on maternal health has really shaped this foundation, and just to create awareness about these challenges that exist and a lot of people don't talk about, and so that women can take charge of their health. Yeah.
So tell us about that your first baby.
Yes.
Zuri, you say you were admitted for an entire month.
Yes.
While pregnant. What led to your admission?
So I started swelling and I started having serious headaches. But
was it sudden?
Yeah, it was pretty sudden because my pregnancy was okay until the 24th week when I started feeling pretty unwell. And you see, these complications or these symptoms are quite similar to a pregnancy symptom, like headaches, swelling. It's obvious, yeah. But it was unusual swelling on my face, on my hands, on my feet. And the headaches were constant, and they did not. Like I was used to take painkillers, and it's still there. So when I went to hospital, that's when they checked, and they were like, "Oh my God, your pressure is so high, we can't even release you. You can't go home." And I'm like, people have high blood pressure and still walk, and you give me medication, and I go home. But I really didn't understand how severe it can be. And so they kept me in hospital to monitor me and try to prolong the process so that I can at least give birth at a time where, it's viable for a baby to survive. Yes, and that's why they kept me in hospital for quite some time. And even during my stay in hospital, it was quite challenging because now there's a point they were like, we can't keep this baby for long because now your organs are starting to be affected.
Wait, did your pressure not reduce?
No, it did not.
So from the moment of admission, even with that observation,
yes,
and them working to stabilize you, it was still shooting.
It was still high.
What was causing this?
So till today, there's no real root cause of why hypertension happens. But there's some studies that say it's as a result of a weak placenta. And quite a number of women are at risk of getting it. So it's just a matter of management at this point. When doctors diagnose you with hypertension now, it's just the treatment and the management. Yeah.
City.
The story that you tell is a story of pain, difficulty, confusion, and then discovery, a certain understanding, sadness, tragedy, but then again, the children or the child is born preterm and lives, so there's joy in that.
Yeah.
Are there things that you can look at and things which distinguish a preterm baby from any other baby that is born full term?
Yeah. Now preterm babies develop in an incubator as opposed to a full-term baby who now develops in the womb. I carried my baby's diaper. Here it is. This is a pen. This is how tiny she was. So a full-term baby definitely is bigger.
Wow.
You see? So this is her tiny diaper. My pen is bigger.
Yeah.
So they really struggle. In terms of even breathing, they have to have assistance. At times, even eating, they can't like breastfeed and things like that. So there's really, and they suffer a lot of complications as compared to a full-term baby. So they definitely experience a lot of, challenges growth-wise. And at times it can extend even after your hospital stay. We're talking about prematurity being the leading cause of deaths for children under 5. So, to answer your question.
So, one of the leading causes of death of children under 5, under 5 mortality is this.
Yes.
Is the fact that they were born too soon.
Prematurity, yes. And they develop complications as a result of that.
They develop complications.
Yes.
It's because of where now they're growing. Like you said, it's in the incubator. Okay. So is there a way the antenatal visits, because you're supposed to do what? How many antenatal visits? 6?
3.
3 in the time of pregnancy.
3 is ultrasound. But us, we recommend at least 1 visit a month.
Every
we
month.
Just say, because you don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the ministry says at least 6 antenatal visits.
Yes.
When you're going there for those antenatal visits, is it possible for the medic to detect whether you are prone to hypertension and preeclampsia or not?
So during the visits, definitely they check your blood pressure. So that's the one way they can be able to identify during a visit, and also checking how, your physical appearance or how you're also feeling. But also an ultrasound check can be able to show if your baby is actually growing. And that's one of the signs that will show if, you're going to deliver prematurity, if your baby is not growing. Personally, my baby stopped growing at 26 weeks and I was already 30 weeks. So that informed, with my second baby, that informed the doctor that we actually need to deliver this baby fast.
Okay.
Because they saw through an ultrasound that the baby is actually not growing.
What causes that?
The pressure.
That's again the pressure.
Yes.
So this pressure will lead to early birth, early delivery. Yes. It could also lead to low birth weight.
Yes. It can also lead to death. It can also lead to brain damage. It can also lead to organ failure.
For both mother and baby?
For the mom.
For the mom.
Yes.
Through your experience now with your first baby, Zuri, and this is where you named your foundation, Zuri Zilani.
Yes.
Because of your baby. So you are admitted for an entire month. You are delivered of the baby, and then 49... how many weeks later?
49 days.
Yeah, 49 days later, the baby passed on. That must have been devastating for you.
It still is.
It still must be, right?
Yeah.
So through that journey of that Zuri and then coming to try for the second baby, that also cannot have been easy.
Yes, it was very hard, yeah.
As you are going through that journey, you're thinking, all right, I remember what happened to Zuri. I remember what happened to Zuri, and I've got to try.
Yeah.
The second time, when you're again told, okay, your blood pressure is coming to this level, your baby has stopped growing, what then also goes through your mind?
I was devastated even when I found out, because after Zuri's death, I made sure I'm not going to get pregnant at least for 5 years, and I did everything necessary to ensure that. Yeah, but I got pregnant maybe 5 months after that.
After the fifth year.
No, after 5 months after the death of Zuri. And in my head, I really wanted to terminate on medical grounds.
You were not prepared.
I was not prepared, and even the doctors were telling me, you have two options: either to terminate this pregnancy because you also have a C-section scar, you're still healing, we usually give 2 years for you to stabilize. And I was scared because I almost lost my life 5 months ago, So I had two options: either to terminate on medical grounds or to take it as a high-risk pregnancy. And let me tell you, the entire pregnancy was filled with a lot of anxiety. I even was prescribed for anxiety medication during my pregnancy because it was so difficult. And now being told, your blood pressure is here again. The only thing that gave me a bit of hope is that I knew my symptoms the second time. So I knew if I feel like this, I can't stay at home. I have to go to the hospital. So this time round, I was more aware, but it did not negate the fact that it was emotionally straining. And I delivered in the same hospital where my baby died, and I was in the same facility where she died. But now the hospital was so kind to put me in another wing, not close to where my other child passed, Yeah. So it was devastating. It was not easy, but we took it a day at a time.
It's interesting. You have anxiety, and you have an inclination towards being hypertensive.
It's not helping the situation.
No, it doesn't help. In fact, it doesn't help at all. It's a catch-22 situation.
Yes.
You're anxious that the blood pressure will kick in, and that anxiety actually now that helps it actually kick in.
Yeah.
Would you say that you have understood it to the point where you can actually manage your anxiety?
I wouldn't. It's hard.
That only answered quickly.
It's hard. It's hard because I was even having a conversation recently about having kids, and your heart is basically walking outside. You can see your heart literally walking, and you panic every time. The thing is, after losing a child and having other children, the fear of death is so tangible. Like you fear everything, something might happen. And I remember my pediatrician used to tell me, Ashley, this baby is not going to die. And she assures me she's not going to die. She's okay. We are 1.1 kgs. We are leaving NICU now. We are going to NHDU, which is now less intensive, like a less intensive ward. So that assurity also was, okay, she's not going to die. And I mentally tell myself, okay, she's going to live. She's okay. Because being born at less than a kilo, I didn't even think this kid is going to survive. And even when how she came I had like something they call placenta abruption, which means the placenta detaches itself from the uterus and it caused bleeding. That's also one of the causes where moms die. And I went to this hospital, and when I walked in bleeding, the security guard said, wasichana wenye wanaingianga kwa hospitali hivi hawatokangi. I just knew my life is over.
That was the watchman giving you expert medical advice.
Said that, and when I think about it now, that makes me quite sad, That makes me quite sad because I went in just to check my pressure because I was feeling bad. And the doctor, there was not even like a gyna in the hospital at the time. So in my head, I was like, true, he's actually right because I needed an emergency attention. So if I was to wait for a doctor, I would have died in that bed. He was right, But I was transferred to now the hospital where I gave birth, and it was quite chaotic. But when I reached to now this other hospital where I gave birth, they had to resuscitate my baby because she had already flatlined.
No, he was right in so far.
It was his observation.
Not only his observation, he was giving a very condemning indictment of the health facility.
And the bad thing about it is that how he said it. And to whom you were saying. I mean, don't say it to
and I was person. Panicking. Right? I'm bleeding. I'm like, oh my God, I'm losing my life.
You don't have to come and say, where by the way?
Where Ofiki?
So you then, after going through this, decided, let me start a foundation and create awareness and all. Now you'll tell us about that foundation and your experience then interacting with other women and seeing whether women really understood what they were going through, and even the experiences that now you've heard from other women who've joined your foundation and we've shared. Let's take a break. It's 27 minutes to 8. Kenya's biggest conversation is starting November with commemoration of it's called
World Prematurity Awareness Month.
World Prematurity Awareness Month.
Yes.
Ashley Muteti is the founder and executive director of the Zuri Nzilani Foundation. Zuri Nzilani is a immortalization of her firstborn who was born premature and unfortunately passed on. But then she's had 2 other babies. And she'll tell us about this foundation and the importance of then creating awareness about this. The premature babies, why we must take care of these tiny hearts who have big futures.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Hi everyone. You may have heard about the official Study in Ireland Fair happening next month on November 9th. Can you tell us what the students can expect?
Dublin City University is Ireland's university for transformation and enterprise. We currently offer over 60 undergraduate programs and over 40 master's programs. 96% of our graduates are in further employment or further studies within 6 months of graduation. If this sounds interesting to you, please join me to learn more about how you can strengthen your future at DCU. Looking forward to seeing you there.
That sounds fantastic. So everyone, make sure to visit the official Study in Ireland Fair at the Gallant Mall, Parklands on November 9th. Make sure to register by visiting www.cradle.com or call 0799 000 444.
I know mkona talents, lakini mkona vibe. It's time to discover East Africa's newest talent. Ni mda wa Kenya kuchachisha. Anguka nayo ka TikToker, utuonyeshe hizi stunts zako. Africa's biggest talent show, Bongo Star Search, is coming to Kenya. Stand a chance to win amazing prizes and work with the biggest names in entertainment. My judges, wakiongozwa na Rita, Master J, Salama Jabir, and our very own Sanaipe Itande, watakuwa pale tukicheka na tukilia. Tulieni mpangwe wasee. From majenzi hadi wakoro, students na corporates, jitokeze tujue nani mzii. Tukutane Kenya National Theatre on Friday 29th and Saturday 30th November. Kosa uchekwe brother. BSS Season 15, sasa beyond borders. Si mchezo. Tune in to ST Swahili Channel 160 or 400 every Sunday at 9 p.m. and on Wednesday for an extra highlights show at 8:30 p.m. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
The weather with SpiceFM.
Yeah, it's sunny in Nairobi on this we're calling it Kindikiwali. On this Kindikiwali day. 17 degrees currently, expect highs of 26. Cloudy in Kakamega at 19, highs of 28 in Eldoret. Partly sunny at 16, highs of 24. We should be finding out the temperatures in Marimanti. Marimanti is in Tharaka Nithi County. That is where the headquarter is. And you can imagine today in Marimanti.
Ile sherehe ambayo inaelekea huko. Hapa nacheza.
Kuanzia yote chuka kwenda mpaka, you know?
Goja.
Yote. Haya, In Mombasa, it's sunny at 27, highs of 32. Sunny in Malindi, 27, highs of 31. Partly sunny in Kisumu, 23, highs of 30. Nakuru, partly sunny at 15, highs of 28. That's not partly sunny. It's mostly sunny in Nyeri at 16, highs of 26. In Kampala, light rain at 20, highs of 29. Sunny in Johannesburg at 15, highs of 25. Cloudy in Kinshasa at 25, highs of 30. Mostly cloudy in Lagos at 26, highs of 32. Sunny in Mogadishu at 28, highs of 31. Addis Ababa cloudy at 15, highs of 19. Dar es Salaam cloudy at 25, highs of 30. 9 and cloudy in Paris, highs of 12. Cloudy in London at 12, highs of 14. New York is partly cloudy at 22, highs of 26. And Beijing in China, sunny at 19, highs of 20.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Continue our conversation with Ashley Muteti, founder, executive director of the Zuri Nzilani Foundation. So, your own experience led you to start a foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Is at this point, had you interacted with other women who had gone through the same preeclampsia, premature birth, low birth weight as you?
So during my hospital stay with Zuri, I realized majority of the women who had babies in NICU were
What's
there.
NICU?
NICU is in neonatal intensive care unit. So it's an ICU for small babies. And when we were there, I realized majority of the women are admitted with their babies there because they gave birth prematurely as a result of hypertension. And none of us knew what this thing is. We've never had it before. Some had babies and they had delivered safely, but now had this other baby and it was complicated. This was the first time pregnancy, same to me. So I said that there's a problem
and even throughout your pregnancy journey up to this point, you had never heard of preeclampsia.
I've never had. But after I had it, my mom told me she also had it with me. Because I was also born 2 kgs and I was born 8 months. So I was like, what?
Allah.
Yeah. Yeah. So after my own experience, my mom told me she also experienced something similar with me. And I said, if all of us don't know about this, majority of us have babies here because of this thing, then this should be a very serious issue. And we went, I was in a good hospital and I wondered, okay, I'm receiving really good care. What about that woman who cannot afford this? How is she handling this? My bill was 6.9 million.
Wow.
I didn't even know where to start. Like, we didn't know where to start.
Yeah.
Like, he earlier asked about Mzee. But we didn't know where to start with a bill of 6.9 million. This is a very young couple. And this just goes to show how expensive it is to have a child in NICU, in ICU, and how expensive it is to have a premature baby. So my own experience led me to really start this foundation and be the voice for women, create awareness. And we've seen what awareness can do because we have a social support group of women who have given birth prematurely, who have lost children and have also had an experience with preeclampsia. And between 2023 and this month, we've had 43 successful births because of education.
Because of people that you have reached out to.
Yes.
As Zuri Nzilani Foundation.
Yes. And they've learned if I have I'm feeling bad, I'm swelling, that is not normal, I need to go to hospital. If my blood pressure is 150 over 100, I cannot stay at home. You see, one of the things I hear doctors say is that, women come in very late when really there's nothing we can do as medics, but, try to save your life. But if it is something that can be detected early, it can be managed and you can be able to save the life of the mom and the baby. And maybe if you cannot save the life of the baby, then you can save the life of the mom, which is still unfortunate. Yeah. So this has been my main reason why, Zuri Nzilani exists, to create awareness, to advocate for these things,
So how do you do that? How do you create awareness?
Through social media, through outreach. We do community outreach. We also do community radio, and have talks there. At times send medics to have tough conversations that I cannot have because I'm not a medic, and also like having sessions with women, like educative sessions. And at times we have those sessions, and we've partnered with a hospital called Jacaranda Maternity, that when we have these sessions, they come in with the medical expertise and offer some of the services that are quite expensive, such as ultrasound scans for free. In a slum, the ultrasound scan is around 1,500 or 1,300. So will this woman buy food for her family, or she will go and do
the ultrasound?
The ultrasound, yeah. So that's how, we reach out to women and families.
When you say this, then you say that there's a lot of, there's lack of awareness.
Yes.
Widespread lack of awareness. But then there are very many women who are pregnant as we speak today. They are expecting a child. There are very many of them who turn up to health facilities for just those regular visits. How then are we saying that there's lack of awareness? There are many women who have given birth and gone back home. Maybe they had preeclampsia, maybe they didn't, they went through it, but they had interaction with medics throughout their pregnancy journey.
Yeah.
And they have sisters, they have cousins, they have daughters, and they still don't have awareness. That tells you that the medics don't actually pass the information.
And at times, that's why we do some of these intensive education platforms, because when you go for antenatal checkups, there are like 50 women lined up.
Yeah.
By the time I start educating one person about these are the dangers, these are what, and there are 50 people lined up, there's really not much time to do that. Yes, we'll give. I've been there when some of these clinics happen, and they'll tell you, if you have a headache, if you have this, if you have that, you come and see. But you don't know the intensity. Okay, I'm having a headache, but how bad?
Yeah.
If it's high blood pressure, how bad? If it's at what point should I come to the hospital? So at times this information is not passed, I agree, during these antenatal clinics. And that's why even this month, we're really focused on this digital campaign called Tiny Hearts, Big Futures, to really raise our voice about prematurity, what causes it, and how women can be able to get assistance.
Would it help, say, for instance, whenever people are in a waiting room, since we're talking about expectant mothers, usually a TV, and with that TV, you're watching whatever is on TV. Would it help if that screen, instead of telling you about the accident that occurred in Mahiu and whatever happened where?
Kinduki swearing in.
Kinduki swearing in. Seriously, or
and Diwali
or telling you how there's this backflow in Nyando and people have been marooned for almost a year, that you actually had medical education being channeled through it. Would it help?
It would. And even when there are 50 women over there, a nurse can come and talk before they go in to get checked. At least have that, conversation, because all of them are seated in one place.
And they wait.
Yeah.
And others also come in. So it's a message that could be repeated.
Yeah.
So if you're there for a while, you'll have heard it enough times for it to have saturated.
Yeah, but a TV would actually be very helpful, and people, watch
because people watch TV.
Yeah.
And if you're sitting waiting, it's something for you to do.
Since around November last year, there are people now in communities called community health promoters, right? And they've been kitted. To the best of your knowledge, are they now doing a better job of creating awareness? Because one of the things that they do is they visit you in your home. So obviously, the people, expected mothers, are a touch point. Are they helping? Do they know about preeclampsia?
Now, yeah, that's actually a really good point, because as a foundation, we are actually heading in that direction of building capacity for
CHPs.
for CHPs. And it's important because they talk about a myriad of issues, malaria and everything. But what about the top leading causes of deaths for moms and for babies? How can a mom be able to identify I am in danger? And so I agree, even with nurses and probably midwives in the rural settings that we have, there still needs a lot of capacity building and training.
You touch on something which is vital there, rural areas. Some of these health facilities in rural areas may not necessarily have a TV, but they would have a health promoter. There's something in medicine they call continuous medical education. It's usually meant for people who are health practitioners, but there's nothing stopping them, again, from what you mentioned, from somebody who works within the facility to actually periodically come and you time yourself. This is the message you're going to give. And you talk to this group, because sometimes those waiting rooms are full.
Yeah.
And there are people, and they're going to be there for some time. So in essence, they're a captive audience.
And it's a common thing, like you've said, between, was it November to now? Or
and last year.
Last year to now.
Yeah.
The number of women that you've come in contact with as the Zuri Nzilani Foundation, and you've created awareness for, and you've helped, that have then ended up having proper deliveries. How many?
43.
Despite having preeclampsia.
Yes.
So 43 women actually got high blood pressure during pregnancy. There are very many more than that you didn't know about, right? Are there cases where you have had to support, let's say, a woman at a point of need to access emergency medical care?
Yes.
How so? Give us a case.
Last year, there's a lady in Kitale who was pregnant. She had severe hypertension, and she went to a facility near her. Her blood pressure, when she checked, it was around 170/110. And the facility told her to go back home because they can't handle her.
Huh?
Yes. The facility told her they can't handle her. She goes back home. They gave her medication and told her, go back home. In an ideal situation, you will not leave that hospital. That is an emergency case. Yeah? And she wrote in the group, ladies, this is my BP. I've been told to go back home. At that time, there are people in Eldoret, in Kitale, and everything. They facilitated. It was around 7, around there.
PM.
By the next day, 9 a.m., people had already facilitated her to go to a hospital. She delivered that morning. That next morning, she delivered. So we were like, if you're being told to go back home, we don't know what to do. That's why people sleep and they don't wake up, or, some of the things happen, or you start bleeding. How will you get assistance?
What level of health facility was this that couldn't handle it?
It
was a private clinic. Was it a public clinic?
It was not. It was like a private.
Did it offer
small
maternal,
clinic? Yes, they do offer. That is where she's been going for her antenatal clinics and everything. And that's why we are even saying we need to train, or we are advocating even at the smallest facility, the primary health care. There needs to be even one basi incubator where women are delivering. Then even one. I've been to a facility where has 300 bats in Kariobangi. 300 bats per month.
300 a month?
Yes, 300 a month. And there is one incubator and it's not even functional. So the chances of a woman coming there and giving birth prematurely, you will lose your child.
It's high.
It's definite. You will lose your child because there is no first aid. How can we be able
this is
to
a
give
Ministry of
first
Health facility?
Yes, it is.
Some research done by a consortium of researchers, the Aga Khan University Hospital, Tampere University in Finland, and others, on this, they found that it's actually a global phenomenon.
Yes, it
One
is.
in 5 children globally is likely to be born preterm low birth rates, right?
Yeah.
1 in 5 globally. And most of them are in these parts of the world.
It's true.
In Africa, in Asia, and South America. And so it just points to health systems that are just not equipped to deal with this. But it takes you back into policy.
Yeah.
With all the expertise that we have in medicine, with clear indicators, and I mean showing that our children are dying below the age of 5, and there are very many things that are telling us how they end up dying below the age of 5. How then are we not able to pinpoint this and say, let's plug this gap?
It makes me sad because we fully plan for natural catastrophes, you know. When the Mpox thing came, like, there was proper funding.
Yep.
By the end of this show, or by the time I leave this place, 2 children would have already been, would die.
In this country?
In this country. 2 babies. You know, why is it not a national importance? Why is it not a priority? Yet we know this is a life and death thing. If by the end of today, there are women who are going to die as a result of probably preventable maternal conditions. There are babies definitely who will die. And it's sad that we are not prioritizing such a thing as this. It makes me quite sad, actually.
No, it's a very sad situation.
Yeah.
What you'll find, and what is strange, is when you look at the budget of the Ministry of Health, and we talk about free maternal health care, it's free because the government is subsidizing it. And the amounts that you'll hear being used to subsidize it are enormous. So when we hear that the services that are supposed to be provided by these monies doesn't exist, then the eternal question we ask in this studio is, okay, so where does the money go to? Because clearly, a place like Kariobangi, with the population density that they have there, this is a facility that should have several incubators, not one. Several.
Actually, Karioko. I would say Karioko. Yeah, it should have several, you know. And you anticipate. That's the thing. We ensure. And I wish even our politicians and governors can stand up and say, in my county, no woman will die. No woman will die giving birth. And I will make sure, even if they give birth prematurely, they have a fighting chance of surviving and thriving. You know, we have to even have that political goodwill and say, okay, we'll channel our resources to ensure our facilities are equipped. I mean, there's a facility. There's a woman who gave birth, I think, to 5 babies, and her babies died because the hospital did not have the capacity to care for those babies. It's unfortunate. It shouldn't happen.
So in your interaction with, I'm sure you've interacted from top policy level with the ministry, with medics, with doctors, with nurses, all the way to community health promoters, all the way to even midwives, right?
Yeah.
Is the information gap spread across?
It's a challenge. And even...
so even midwives do not know what to look out for. So they know, do pressure, but do they know what to do in case you find?
So there are definitely strategies that have been laid out, and at times even policy. I was having a look at the Linda Mama program audit, and the biggest challenge was execution. Yes, it was functional and everything, but the biggest challenge was implementation. And you find that things are made at top level, but the information gap and communication gap is so huge that people in the county level now don't have like a roadmap to use and say, okay, when a woman comes, what's the protocol to check, you know? Check for this. A baby has died. Let's record at what point did we weigh this baby? Did we do this? So there are things that are still like huge gaps, you know, in terms of information.
Poverty is also a contributor, isn't it?
Yes.
Because you mentioned something to do with diet. Explain.
Yeah, so malnutrition, you know, when you're pregnant, you also take these supplements. At times, there are women who don't and can't afford.
They just can't afford the supplements.
Yeah, they can't afford the supplements. So what happens to them? You know, it poses a risk. So the baby, you'll have the baby is not even growing, you know, and you'll give birth to a very small baby, or you'll give birth early. Yes.
There's a lot that you've done at Zuri Nzilani. So you're creating a lot of awareness, like you've said. You are, championing all these things. Is there anything, in terms of collaboration that you do? Collaborating with research organizations, collaborating with other like-minded organizations, because you know that there's there's an information gap. We have 1 million children born every year in this country. Now, those are 1 million pregnancies at risk every year. That's a lot of information that's needed.
Over 100,000 of those babies are premature.
And Eric, in case you thought it was safe to get out of the water, the budget for maternal health in this country was 4 billion. It was reduced to 2 billion.
It was reduced?
It was reduced, just so that you understand. Though, of course, we increased the budget for women empowerment. But the point being, you pause and wonder and ask, okay, we know that more children are being born. That million is increasing, it's not going down. So why is the budget for this particular service that caters for these children who are about to be born, why are you reducing it, and yet more people will need this particular assistance? What's the rationale for reducing it?
Yeah.
It's because Margaret is no longer the First Lady.
Wow, that's a punch.
Someone has actually mentioned here. Remember the First Lady's program when Margaret was First Lady? What was it called?
Beyond Zero.
The Beyond Zero, right?
Yeah.
It was basically advocating for this.
Yeah.
I know that even First Lady Rachel has a program that is dealing with, advocating and pushing on issues of maternal health. Okay? But then you ask yourself, so why is it that this thing is relegated to, the office of the First Lady? Those things where enda saidia wa mama mfanye mambo, uonekane unafanya kazi.
Saidia wa mama kama wewe.
Uonekane unafanya kazi. Is that the attitude that comes out like it's the attitude of government?
It appears so. In fact, you're almost limiting the capacity of and the roles of the First Lady to just that. You see? Okay, let's say you've decided that is what it's going to be. What is the national priority when it comes to maternal health? Because everyone, even those who are in position of authority, it's maternal health that ensures that you become a human being in the first place.
That's true.
Yes, that's why you're sitting there doing whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah.
So that chance that was given to you, why is it not being given to others?
True.
Ashley, you're running this campaign, Tiny Hearts. So if anybody would like to get in touch with the Zuri Nzilani Foundation, how do they do that? How do they support you?
Okay.
In a minute.
All right. So we have, we are running Mchanga, to assist women who are currently in NICU and have huge hospital bills, and also to assist with their psychosocial support like therapy. So we are running an Mchanga campaign, and you can be able to see that in our socials. You can follow us on Zuri Nzilani Foundation on Instagram and Facebook. And if you want to get in touch, please also you can DM us. We are very open to collaborations because the goal is one, to ensure that moms will not die and children, even if they are born whatever way, that they have a fighting chance of survival.
So Zuri Nzilani Foundation on your social media.
Yes,
Zuri on Instagram, on Facebook.
Yes.
On X. And Zuri is Zuri.
Yes.
Nzilani Nzilani.
Yes.
So see Nzuri. It is Zuri.
Zuri.
It is Zuri.
Yes.
Zuri. Nzilani, it is Nzilani. Thank you very much, Ashley, for joining us.
Thank you too.
It's a good job that you're doing.
Thank you too. I really appreciate your opportunity.
8 a.m. news time.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. One more suspect linked to the murder of slain Wells Fargo Human Resource Manager Willis Ayeko was Thursday shot dead by police in Kisumu after he was found at a guest house within the lakeside city. Nyanza Regional Police Commander Patrick Tito said the suspect cocked a pistol and took aim at the officers, prompting them to open fire. Police believe that the suspect is part of a carjacking ring whose 2 members were arrested Thursday when police thwarted a planned highway robbery and recovered Ayeko's stolen pistol. The United States Agency for International Development, USAID, has disbursed over $26.1 million in microloans to businesses in Kenya, mainly aimed at mitigating the effects of climate change. The funds disbursed more than 13,000 micro, small and medium enterprises were channeled through the Impact for Northern Kenya Fund, a sustainable impact investment fund from USAID Kenya and East Africa in jointly with USAID Kuza. AV Ventures Senior Investments Manager, who doubles as the local manager for Inc. Fund, Ronald Musundi, said the women entrepreneurs in northern Kenya have taken up to 46% of the funding. 5 people, including a teenager, were killed in ethnic clashes in Lydiah and Olposimoru along the Nakuru-Narok border following a cattle rustling incident in the Mau Forest complex. According to Narok County Commissioner Samuel Kimiti, 3 men herding livestock in the restricted forest were attacked by raiders who stole 5 cattle. The herder died on the spot while the other 2 escaped with narrow wounds. The region has seen frequent conflicts among the Kikuyu, Kipsigis, Maasai and Ogek communities over livestock, pasture and land. In 2018, similar clashes left more than 20 people dead, 30 injured, homes burnt and property worth millions destroyed. Violence continued until 2020, with authorities imposing curfews and restricting activities to reduce tensions. Chief Justice Martha Koome has called for collaboration among justice actors to ensure the success of child justice reforms. Speaking during the launch of the National Child Justice Service Month at Kirigiti Rehabilitation School in Kiambu County, the Chief Justice called on the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, the Department of Children's Services and the Probation Department to work closely with healthcare and psychosocial experts to strengthen the collective ability to support, rehabilitate and reintegrate children effectively. She said by offering screening assessment and individualized counseling, a foundation for rehabilitation that addresses each child's unique challenges, fostering an environment of care, healing and support can be created. Burundian President Evariste Ndayishimiye and his Kenyan counterpart William Ruto have been appointed to chair and vice chair of the COMESA regional bloc. The 2 were appointed at the 23rd COMESA summit in Kiriri Bujumbura Summit. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi was among leaders who congratulated the 2 on their appointments. Mudavadi said the summit theme, accelerating regional integration through the development of regional value chains in climate-resilient agriculture, mining and tourism, underscored COMESA's unwavering commitment to fostering sustainable, inclusive growth for all member states. And Kenya National Commission on Human Rights is demanding that all reported cases of abductions, extrajudicial killings and disappearances be investigated thoroughly and findings made public. The Commission wants the ODPP to work closely with the IPOA to fast-track cases where state actors are implicated or have failed to act. This comes after ambassadors and high commissioners of non-European diplomatic missions in Kenya expressed concern over the surge in abductions and enforced disappearances across the country. In a joint statement, they noted that every Kenyan is entitled to the rights and fundamental freedoms spelled out in the Constitution and urged the government to ensure the rule of law prevails. Rwanda's 2022 beauty queen was recently arrested for flouting the country's strict road safety policies. Divine Shuti, who's known for her influence in the fashion industry, was apprehended for drunk driving and driving without a license. Authorities said she had damaged infrastructure before fleeing the scene, noting that it was not the first time she had been involved in such offences. Rwanda, known for its strict traffic laws, has over recent years imposed hefty penalties for violations such as speeding and drunk driving. In sports, manager Ruben Amorim says there will be clarification over his expected move to Manchester United after Sporting's game against Estiria today. He is expected to remain in charge at Portuguese side Sporting until the next international break next month. Confusion remains, though, over whether a deal has been completed for Amorim to take over at Old Trafford after Erik ten Hag was sacked on Monday. This is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
102.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
There's no traffic, so you just go where you want to go. Where do you want to go? You want to go to Mombasa? Go. You want to go to Nyeri? Go. You want to go to Munyoro?
Just go.
Go. Where do you want to go? But if you want to go to town to witness the swearing in of Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki as Deputy President, just know that obviously City Hall Way, Parliament Road, Harambee Avenue, Taifa Road will not be accessible just like that. Why? Because that's where the ceremony is taking place. So obviously those two roads, those several roads, that City Hall Way, there's already, a lot of traffic being blocked. Parliament Road as well, just avoid it, or avoid Harambee Avenue, avoid Taifa Road. Try as much as possible and avoid Wabera Street as well, especially around the City Hall roundabout. But Wabera Street into Mamangena, into Standard Street, into Kaunda Street, it's okay. Into Kenyatta Avenue, that's all right. But just avoid the area around KICC. Driving, you can walk in. I don't know if they're just allowing anybody, Tom, Dick and Harry, to come in, but that's what public event should be. So just avoid your vehicle. You can park wherever else.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
8 minutes after 8, how are you doing? Welcome to the third hour of Kenya's biggest conversation. This is The Situation Room. We are here every day from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and we thank you very much for joining us. Now, remember that Professor Kithure Kindiki will be sworn in as Deputy President anytime from between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m.
That's according to the Constitution.
Yes.
Yes.
So he will be sworn in and he will assume office. So yeah, that's going on. I mean, we all knew that it was going to happen at some point anyway. So we'll be having that conversation at 9 o'clock. But for now, let's talk about the economy and what's happening. Pesa imeongezeka ama pesa imeisha? That's the conversation we want to have. There is a falling inflation. The Kenya National Bureau of Statistics basically has been tracking inflation numbers and has now found that the inflation in the country is actually dropping. So what does that mean? Are we saying that now we are able to afford the goods and services that were previously a bit expensive, or what are we saying? And what does that mean? As you think about all those things, think about the companion that you need for your financial needs. And that companion is Tala. Tala says, look, you have all these instances where you need money. One of the conversations, one of the stories that I had was from a friend of ours from Tala, who said his first interaction with Tala, actually with Tala properly, was they were at a hospital.
Yep.
Queuing. And a friend is told, this is the amount of money that you'll need to pay, to access the services at a hospital. And then he's like, oh my goodness, now I don't have money. What do I do? Do you have some money? And the dude says, I don't have. Why don't you just borrow from Tala? That guy was like, oh yeah, let me see, let me try. He downloaded Tala there and then. He registered and signed up. And then he was able to access some money there and then. And he paid his hospital bill. He bridged the gap that he had. And this is the time when this guy was like, I was just saying download Tala. Like, I was just telling him, just download Tala. But I've seen it at work. I've seen it working. It's those moments when you tell yourself, I need something. I need some money. I've been called. There's an emergency somewhere. Or you're traveling, you're driving, and your car breaks down. Unaambiwa break down, hii tunalipishaka hii pesa. Ndio to break down, tuvurute gari mpaka kwa ile petrol station. Ndio ulete makanika. And you look at how much you had and how much it repaired, and that money is not enough. It's not enough for you to have the breakdown and then to get the mechanic to sort you out.
In fact, Eric, think about
and
it.
You're out of town.
What if you're in a public service vehicle and it breaks down?
Yes.
And you're going somewhere else.
And you've already paid.
You've already paid. And the driver and conductor can't give you a refund because you paid at the office. But you still need to reach where, and you need money. Now you tell me.
And you don't have time to wait for them to call the office. Then the office to start processing and sending you each of you money.
It is a weekend and in the middle of nowhere. Where do you think you're going to get money from? Emergencies by their very nature don't tell you when they're going to occur. That's why they're an emergency. And it often appears and manifests as the most inopportune time. Now, having a friend who will be at your beck and call when you need that assistance is a worthy friend. And Tala is that friend.
Yeah.
Yes. Your financial friend.
Yep. Yes. So please go to Google Play on your Android phone, download Tala, and you'll have that companion with you. Just sign up. It's a simple, easy process to sign up. Sign up, and you'll have that companion with you. You will need him. I'm telling you, for sure, you will need him. Our conversation is going to be about the economy, as we talk about, as we say. Dr. Steve Gashie is an economist. He has taught economy, and he now is a business administration and a management consultant. Good morning, Dr.
Good morning.
How are you?
Been well.
Yeah.
Finally, we meet again.
Yes.
And I keep telling people, if there is one show that knowledge works, is this one. And for Kenyans who are not looking for comical relief, therefore, not any other.
Very good. Very well said. Very well said, and thank you very much for that.
Most welcome.
Thank you very much for that lovely compliment.
Yes.
Yes.
Asante sana. You will teach us about the economy today. And we, like I said, data from KNBS is indicating that inflation is actually coming down. Inflation has now gone all the way down to 2.5%. And that is indicative of very many things. The Standard today has that story. Inflation eases in October despite complaints of increased hardships. Kenya's inflation rate dropped further to 2.7% in October, even as the cost of living continues to skyrocket amidst enhanced taxes imposed by the government. So, inflation is dropping, the cost of living is going up. That's an oxymoron, isn't it?
It is.
Aye. Then let's talk about it shortly. First, City will give you the day's proverb. Every week, you know, he goes to an African country and brings us proverbs from that country. This week, you've been in which country?
We've been in the state of Libya, which once upon a time was a kingdom. Believe it or not, it had a king. You know, we are very unfortunate. We've never had a king. We've had aspiring kings, but we've never actually had substantive king.
One big king.
One big. The people have tried.
We've had our small kings.
Small kings.
Loibon here, you know.
In the village, we have them. People who presume that they are kings.
Yes.
But the good thing is that short-lived those kingships.
Yeah.
Right. Fish eats fish. And he who has no might dies.
Fish eats fish.
Yeah.
And he who has no might
dies.
Fish eats fish.
Yes.
And he who has no might dies.
Yes.
Interesting. I think I would shoot. I don't want to overthink.
Don't.
I'll go the literal meaning. There's a light, I think, in West Africa who talked of man eats society.
Man eat man society.
So I'll draw parallelism from the same. And I stay there.
Man eats man.
Yes.
And he who is weak dies.
Yes. Usually big fish eats small fish. And even bigger fish eats big fish and small fish.
Strong fish eats weak fish.
Yes. So
am I within the score?
Oh, my friend, you are not within. You are all over the score.
You're bang in the middle of the score.
I was actually thinking I would get something from Ghana because of his the Ghanaian cap. Today is not donning it. It's more West African than East Africa.
It's actually Papua New Guinean.
Oh, really?
Yes.
They're neighbors, aren't they?
No. That's Guinea.
Oh, these are
There's Guinea, and
Oh,
then
the
there's
small
Guinea,
one.
Bissau,
And
that's
there's
West
Equatorial
Africa.
Guinea.
There's Equatorial Guinea, they're all Guinea. But
And
this
then
one is
there's
Papua New Guinea.
Guinea.
It's near Australia.
Oh.
I have relatives there.
Okay. Now, when you talk about Tala, and you talked about there's this story when you're in high school, university, you'd get to a matatu, and what they would do, when it breaks down, the conductor and driver would disappear.
First order of business, take off.
So there was no one to give you refund.
There was no refund clause.
then a lot has changed then. So then I would imagine if it was there during those days, it would have been an instant solution.
Imagine. And now it's an instant solution to those who have the benefit of actually downloading it.
I would say that.
So that story, let me just continue with a bit of it. Data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, the latest consumer price index published by the KNBS, shows that in the last 12 months ending October, the inflation rate has dropped by 4.2% in the last 12 months, right? On the flip side, Kenyans have had their income squeezed further with enhanced taxes, among them SHIF that has been effected starting this October 1st, and the housing levy, which exacerbates the cost of living. According to the CPI numbers, inflation reduced from 3.6% in September to 2.7% in October as a result of a drop in the prices of housing, the price of water, electricity, gas, and other fuels. There was also a drop in transport, which is explained by revised fuel prices that have been gradually dropping from 200 shillings and crossed in September to 2023. It had hit 200 shillings last year. The two indices, that's housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels, and transport, are the only ones that registered a drop within a month. In the October cycle, petrol prices dropped by 8 bob to retail at 180. Diesel is now 170, dropping by 3 bob. So this is what's happening. It is the researchers use indices, and they're looking at the cost of gas, the cost of energy, electricity, the cost of water, the cost of all these consumables is coming down. And so inflation then is coming down. But then, Dr. Ashia, as we are saying, the cost of goods is still going up. How is that possible?
Well,
the cost of living is still going up.
It's very interesting because usually you should have a linear relationship. That when the inflation is going down, the cost of living is go down, and you have money in your pocket, because meaning you are spending less for more. Currently, what we have is what we call an inverse relationship. One goes up, the other goes down. When the other one is going down, the other goes up. And I would just want to quickly go to 1982. There's a gentleman called Jim, I think, Cavell, during the elections of Bill Clinton. And he said a very simple thing: economy stupid.
It's the economy stupid.
It is the economy stupid. What was meaning that everything that goes, it goes back to the economy. First, we need to look at, when you talk about inflation, what has led to the reduction of the inflation. What has happened is that because of God has been very benevolent, blessed us with a lot of rain. So we have had a lot of harvest. So the cost of food, and especially maize and maize meal, has gone down. However, there is this urge to jump and say the economy is doing well, just because either the economy is doing bad because maize meal price has gone up, or the economy is doing well just because maize meal has gone down. And I keep telling people, when you're driving, it's actually what we call the dashboard. So when you see that sign of check engine, what it means is tell you, check at every possible aspect of the engine to get to know what is happening. Okay? It doesn't mean necessarily, maybe you're running out of oil or you are going to grade to a halt. Is that you need to have a holistic look at what is happening. Basically, inflation is a good indicator of where we are headed. But also we need to ask ourselves, what has caused that attribute? And that's why you see foodstuff are going down. Basically, we say the food basket, what you buy every day for your dinner table. Maize meal, tomatoes, cabbages. That aspect could be going down, but then you ask yourself, do also Kenyans have the purchasing power to buy? Because maize meal or unga can be retailing at 100 bob, but can you afford it? In terms of the purchasing power, do you have the money? If you look at other aspects, other fundamental economic fundamentals factors, do they speak to the same? That's why you ask yourself, why would it be then inflation is at 3% or 2.7%, but the cost of living has gone up? Okay? Meaning, one, there are the factors that are not flowing with this indicator. So something is very structurally very wrong within the economy or the policies. For example, if you look at it at the same time, you look at data that almost 20% of those people who borrowed money are not able to service their loans.
Yeah.
Okay? If you stretch it to Hustler Fund, it's 50% of NPL.
50% of the Hustler Fund is non-performing.
It's non-performing. Okay?
Yeah.
But where Hustler Fund is concerned, many questions arise, but let's go with that.
Okay? 50%
are not paying.
One of which of the sector which is struggling is manufacturing. So what does manufacturing do? Creates employment. What does that mean? The value addition downstream for our agriculture, which feeds 70% of our households. So downstream to the manufacturing, there is no value addition because our sector is not doing very well, meaning if you go back upstream, 70% of households are struggling. And when they are struggling, they don't have money in the pocket. And when they don't have money in the pocket, they cannot buy, meaning we are producing, we are not consuming.
So the demand for these goods is low.
It's low.
And that could drop inflation.
Good. Despite the inflation, stretch it again, the middle class. Our middle class is shrinking.
How do you know this?
Numbers. Rule of the thumb. You expect our middle class stays in addresses as Clear. Do the walking. How many signage of to let are there? Flip it on the other side of Thika Road, another. Is the demand of housing high? Yes. Why? Because there is almost opposite migration. So meaning he was paying a rent of 70,000, now I'm comfortably paying 30. Would that mean by now our statistical data, meaning that the cost of housing has reduced? Would that data speak to that?
No.
Okay. So who could? Who consumes? Our middle class. If you go to other jurisdictions like the US, middle class drives the economy. If you look at the model of the economy, even which is there, they are saying bottom up, middle out. Meaning they want to create more of the middle class that is going to consume what the industries are producing. So when you put all that together, then therefore, you're able to say, yes, we have a GDP growth of now devised 5%, which is not real economic GDP growth. Real GDP means when there is 5.7, 5.2% growth, even your pocket growth with the same...
will be corresponding.
So I just wanted to create that bigger picture so that when we say inflation, which is true because Lane has been there, it is nothing much the government has done. It's actually to the benevolence of macro fundamentals, exogenous factors, which we have no control.
Also, the government also positioned itself properly to support. So the rains were coming, but then there was a subsidized fertilizer, helping farmers with the inputs that they needed so that they can grow food.
Then you'd ask yourself, therefore, if that is the hypothesis, then the cost of production would have been so less costly that the farmers within the maize basket of Rift Valley are not complaining when you buy their maize 90 kg at 2,000.
True.
You know, that would be the genesis. Fine.
That they can sell it to you at 2,000.
2,000
and they'll still
comfortably
make money.
and make money. However, what they are saying, the cost of production is more than what they are selling. So that is why we don't have a boom in the Rift Valley.
Is this what then brings about what we call cost push inflation?
Exactly.
What's that?
It's to say that the inflation has grown because the cost of production has gone up. You know, there are three factors where inflation normally comes from. Food-led inflation, when the cost of food goes up. Energy-led inflation, when the cost of energy goes up. And forex-led inflation, whereby your currency loses value, so you're using more money to import, meaning, like what City has said, the cost pushes inflation to become elevated. Basically, that is it. However, we agree, the cost of essential, the food basket, your dinner table. However, you are not able to buy because you have no money in your pocket, because the cost of doing business, whether in informal sector, the cost of loans, for example, very expensive. Okay? Meaning, if I'm producing, then whatever I produce, and homework to you, go and look what are those items which have the price have become easy. It's basically 80% agricultural. Why is it that cooking oil is not taking the route south? Because still there is a factor of production, there's factor of import, there's factors of energy and all that. That way you'd explain why the cost of living is still going up. The cost of buying a car has not gone cheap, like what my brother had said. Maybe the cost of cheese could fall. Would you say then...
Cost of living has fallen.
Exactly.
Why? Because we don't eat cheese.
Because it is not on your dinner table.
It's not a major factor when it comes to what we consume.
Exactly.
Yes.
So not unless we create as many opportunities where people can earn decent living. You look at our taxation regime. You alluded to it, that you look at the payslip. In fact, I predict that in the next maybe 5 years, a lot of people will move from formal employment to informal, voluntarily. Because the argument is that maybe when you're out there doing a small business, would be making more of your money than when you are seated in the office.
Does that then not presume that there'll be money in the economy and that the circulation then will make it possible for you to do business? Meaning, you have a business and there are takers to your business.
That is the assumption.
That is the assumption. But what is our lived reality?
The lived reality is that today, and that's why we are talking to the cost of living, that whoever has a small business, medium business, the corporates, it's become so expensive to produce that the services are dear. The products are dear. They're expensive. Apart from that, which is agricultural in nature. If you look at it, it's more of the agriculture sector. And even if when there is overproduction in the agriculture sector, does not mean then the farmer is also happy. So not unless, and that's what I started with saying, the economy is stupid, because there must be a strategy that by the end of the day we should have a linear relationship whereby city, when you go to the supermarket, you do your shopping, you can afford it, it's affordable, and still you can have some savings. We can do another assumption. If you look at the entertainment industry, all over Nairobi, beautiful places where people do shalehe almost daily. Does that then mean people have money?
Well, they're spending it.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
No.
So they're spending it.
But
yes,
then
they are spending it, but on what exactly?
On booze.
Then
and meat.
You know, on the value of it, if you look at the you know, the assumption would be then these people has a lot of money because entertainment and luxury lunch together. Meaning that you are clothed, you are fed.
Sorted out the basics.
But that's not the issue. Because then again, you are saying the cost of living is high. Yet people can afford this. Meaning what they are doing, they are foregoing savings.
It's escapism because when you have a situation that is beyond your control, you are more likely to head towards something that gives you pleasure and gives you ease. So in essence, you're not in your right state of mind. You're actually not thinking rationally.
So what you're saying is when you see all these joints opening every new day, big guns and bigger ones and getting full every day of the week, this is a mental health issue.
It is.
It's not a sign of economic
not
growing.
Necessarily.
It's a sign of
it is not. And you see all these lovely cars being parked. No. You, my friend, I see where you're going with this one, but something is not right.
That's what you mean.
Is not right. What I mean is that there's a population of people who actually populate these establishments.
Yes.
All right? You can tell by the vehicles, you can tell by whatever it is, the indicators you want to tell. But it is not an indication that the economy is necessarily growing, because if you're talking about the growth of economy, you're looking at the larger population, not a particular sector of the economy. No. That sector of the economy is not representative of the majority of those who live in this country.
And exactly. In fact, when you look at the demographics for those who are the patron of those, one thing come out is that most of them are foregoing savings. If you look at our savings ratio, it's less than 10%. Of our GDP, okay? Meaning, in every household, maybe 2%. For a household, maybe 2% of the households are able to save. Okay? So, I was doing that parallelism so that we can talk about the idea that inflation is down, cost of living is high.
It's high.
Doesn't mean then people are doing better because they are going to the entertainment joints. Okay? We are saying we are foregoing other issues within the economy that would rather have been people would be doing individually, whereby that because economy grows because of our activities. And that is why you go when you're looking at our GDP growth. Which sectors drive the growth, and what is the impact? One, the financial sector. That is where there is highest growth, GDP-wise. Why is it so? Because government is borrowing. So all our banks are not making profit because yourself and I, we are doing business with them. Is because treasury bill, T-bills, they are getting interest from the government. If you go to retail and wholesale, you must buy your unga. So when you see all these supermarkets coming out in every aspect of our estates, doesn't mean that our economy is going because your share of wallet significantly goes there. Whether you get some little money, you must eat. Meaning, the sectors, finance sectors, how many people are employed there? Wholesale and trade, how many are employed there? But 70% of our livelihood we get from agriculture. Meaning, if agriculture sector is not growing, people don't have money. So until and when we have a Marshall Plan or we tinker our agriculture, and I thought the model, the bottom-up model, was actually, if you look at it, was more phased into agriculture.
Yes.
What I was saying, and because I think even those in government don't understand it, they know the model, but they got wrong what we call implementation and the theory of change.
Let's take a break. Dr. Kashia. Maybe this is the implementation at work. You first of all sort out one aspect, inflation, and then now you shall sort out the other aspect, the net incomes. And then we shall balance this thing. Hold on. Dr. Steve Gashia is an economist. He's our guest today. He is also a management consultant, and we are talking about falling inflation versus the pocket. So yes, Kenya's inflation has dropped to a 17-year low, coming to 2.7% at the end of October, and this is what the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics has basically released. If you compare that with September, where it was 3.6%, October 2.7%, it has basically dropped by 4.2% in the last 12 months to October. Inflation is dropping. What should that mean? It should mean that you should have more money in your pocket. Do you? Well, let's talk about that as we come back. Well, think about studying in Ireland, and we have the official Study in Ireland fair taking place on the 9th of November at Garland Mall in Parklands, Nairobi. Get to interact with the top international universities from Ireland, get access to them, discover Ireland's career opportunities. Also, you'll learn about amazing scholarships. You'll get some visa consultation. The participating universities, 7 of them will be there: Griffith College, University of Galway, University of Limerick, Technological University of the Shannon, Dublin City University, Independent College, University College Cork, all of them. www.cradle.com. www.craydel.com. craydel.com.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Hi everyone. You may have heard about the official Study in Ireland fair happening next month on November 9th. Can you tell us what the students can expect?
TUS is currently offering a €1,000 Sub-Saharan Africa scholarship that is eligible to all our incoming students from the region. There is an additional €3,000 alumni scholarship for all students progressing to first year from our foundation program, giving you a total of €4,000 scholarship from first year till you graduate. 86.9% of our graduates are employed within 9 months of completing their degree. It's such an amazing time at TUS, and we look forward to welcoming you. Thank you.
That sounds fantastic. So everyone, make sure to visit the official Study in Ireland fair at the Gallant Mall, Parklands on November 9th. Make sure to register by visiting www.cradle.com or call 0799 000 444.
I know mko na talents, lakini mko na vibe. It's time to discover East Africa's newest talent. Ni muda wa Kenya kuchachisha. Anguka nayo kaa TikToker, utuonyeshe hizi stunts zako. Africa's biggest talent show, Bongo Star Search, is coming to Kenya. Stand a chance to win amazing prizes and work with the biggest names in entertainment. Majudges wakiongozwa na Rita, Master J, Salama Jabir, and our very own Sanaipe Itande watakuwa pale tukicheka na tukilia. Tulieni mpangwe wasee. From majenzi hadi wakoro, students na corporates, jitokeze tujue nani mzii. Tukutane Kenya National Theatre on Friday 29th and Saturday 30th November. Kosa uchekwe brother. BSS Season 15, sasa beyond borders. Si mchezo. Tune in to ST Swahili Channel 160 or 400 every Sunday at 9 p.m. and on Wednesday for an extra highlights show at 8:30 p.m. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
The weather with SpiceFM.
It's sunny in Nairobi. Is it out there? Yes. Expect highs of 26 later today. It's now getting cloudy in Kakamega at 22, highs of 29. It's sunny in Nyeri at 17, highs of 27. Sunny in Nakuru at 18, highs of 28. Malindi, sunny at 28, highs of 32. Partly sunny in Kisumu at 25, highs of 30. In Mombasa, sunny at 29, highs of 32. Eldoret, 17 and sunny, highs of 25. Dar es Salaam is cloudy now, highs of 31. It's sunny in Addis Ababa at 16, sunny in Mogadishu at 28, light rain showers in Lagos at 26, sunny in Joburg at 18, cloudy in Kinshasa at 24, light rain in Kampala at 20, sunny in Beijing at 21, cloudy in Paris at 9, in London is also cloudy at 12, and partly cloudy in New York at 21.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, our conversation continues with Dr. Gashie, who is Dr. Steve Gashie, economist, business administration and management consultant. Falling inflation versus the pocket. Inflation has dropped to 17-year low on falling food prices. Imagine, it's gone back to Kibaki days. That's how well we are doing in terms of inflation dropping. Surely you can't just say it's just because of God. See, that God has been there for all those 17 years, Dr. Harry. There must be some intervention from the government. And that's what I was saying. If you look at maybe when they say, the administration came in and said, let's try and impact and have wide impact. Go to production, go to inputs. Impact at that point, subsidize inputs, fertilizer, support farmers with seed, support farmers with information there. Then come also and look at energy. See how you can support and subsidize this. They said, let's not subsidize at the point of consumption. But also at the same time, they have still been able to use the price stabilization mechanism to manage the cost of energy. These are interventions that the government has put in place. So even as it rained, those interventions were also well placed to help inflation come down.
I'll go back to what you mentioned about Kibaki days. And a rhetoric question. What do we remember Kibaki about or Kibaki for?
The economy.
Growth. Isn't it?
No, not just growth. Tangible growth that you could experience and you could feel and touch.
Exactly.
Sustainable growth.
Yeah, you could feel it, you could touch it, you could see it.
Exactly.
It wasn't in the textbook.
Exactly. You didn't have to go to the supermarket.
No.
To see the price of unga.
You didn't need to read a book.
You didn't need to go to then Nakumat and to look at the price of unga and say the economy is doing well.
No.
What you do, there was even what we call the velocity of money within the economy. Wherever we were, all of us, I remember outside there, the mainstream banks would hawk money.
My friend, there were kiosks everywhere asking you to borrow money.
Yes.
If you look at Thika Road, it became unrecognizable because of the development, the infrastructure, and all that. If you go to, and I think that is where there was almost a generational change of old money to new money. What do I mean? Young men then, in their 30s, 20s, 25, 35, became, if I may, millionaires. Okay? And you could feel it all over because the economy was growing. Actually, 7%. The price of foodstuff, inflation was low. By the way, sometimes it even short, but people were able to bear. If you look at about 208, 209, you go to the inflation index, they were high.
It was quite high. There were the Unga protests that time.
You remember?
Yep.
Yes, and that is where Kibaki intervened and we had a GOK Unga at 90. Then, today, Unga is about 120, about there. Then it was 80. People are complaining the prices are high, but they could afford and the economy was growing. That is the difference between then and now.
So between interventions then and interventions now?
Yes. Because the intervention then, they were more deliberate. Look at the loans. When the government borrows from domestically, we normally have what we call clouding effect. That when you go to the bank, no one will speak to you because you are expensive to manage. You are risk
You're a high risk.
You're higher risk than the bank, who the manager would not chase, will not look for people to chase you around. Then, meaning the person in Komba, Kamukonji, Kisumu, wherever they are, they cannot be able to access money. And when you don't access capital, you cannot recapitalize your business.
Yeah.
And when you do that, it becomes the interest rates are high, so the loans become expensive. Okay.
Yeah.
And when we do that, then everything, the domino effect, that everything else becomes expensive. So that is why we are talking about. Yes, the inflation is low. Actually, it's almost 20 years. When we were at 2 point, almost 20 years.
It's almost 20 years, eh? So that's what I was telling you, Dr. Just consider that maybe those interventions, yes, they may not be, in tandem with what we were seeing 17, 20 years ago. But then it was interventions that are coming in at also another unique period. A unique period where 80% of our money that we're collecting as government is going to repay debt. Debt whose value is not actually being felt right now by the same economy. Money was borrowed to do some infrastructure projects. Those infrastructure projects either didn't happen or they're not bearing fruit, so they're not even driving the economy to grow. But we have to pay. So there's money that's going there. So there are all these other factors at play. Now, try and stabilize those ones. Try and make sure that your book, your credibility as a government still stands in that you can borrow money. IMF comes in, is giving you now money. Look at right now, the interest rates are dropping in terms of the bonds and bills starting to come down. So the bonds and bills are starting to come down. The banks will start coming to us so that they can lend us money. And all these other factors are at play. Maybe this is part of a long-term game.
Alec.
You can't see the game?
Alec, for the economic fundamental factors don't change.
They're the same.
They're the same.
They are constant.
They are constant, especially macro, those which you have no control. For example, tomorrow you won't tell us how much oil will cost. Or the dollar after the election on 4th, we don't know what new policies will come.
Yeah.
So you have no control. You don't know what will happen in the Middle East. You don't know what happens when South Korea army goes to help Russia. North. Those are factors beyond your control. Let me agree with you that 70% of the revenue that we collect goes to pay debt, which is true. So then, what did we do with the debts that we borrowed?
Sherehe.
The mental health issue that you asked.
So meaning then that probably, Alec, we are borrowing money to pay our bills. Normally, we are borrowing to pay maybe salaries, to pay our OPEX, operational expenses. And when we borrow for capex or infrastructure projects, the assumption is when you do those huge infrastructures, there are going to be a trickle effect to the economy. And I think that is a model Uhuru, His Excellency, was using. Okay? That let's do these infrastructure projects so that we can have a trickle-down effect. However, it didn't happen. Why? Because significantly of the money were going back
outside. It wasn't trickling down here.
If it's China,
it was trickling in China.
If it's China, they'll give us this loan to do this infrastructure project. But instead of bringing money, they'll bring materials.
Yeah.
And personnel.
So those are the small industries which grow within the ecosystem who are not there. And that is why people at one time they asked His Excellency, we don't eat loads. Because they couldn't get the economic value of what was happening because there is no money within security, within the communities, the societies, when this is happening.
And actually they should have, because anything that is infrastructural, just look at what it brings about. if you are building something, the materials that are needed for it.
Yes.
You will need labor.
Yes.
Everything that goes into it guarantees that there's more money available to more people than prior to that. And that money will also trickle down to others.
Exactly. And that is what the same model with Kibaki, but Kibaki and his team, they understood the theory of change. Okay? For instance, if you look at the model, the bottom-up model, I think we are long on the theory of change on the agricultural sector. There was that discussion that we'll have journalists and in Busia and all that. And also what Moses Kuria was doing, launching the buildings. Sometimes we stop at the output level. Okay? Instead of the outcome level. Because at the outcome level, that is where you get change. For instance, I keep asking myself, His Excellency President Ruto says that we are not going to throw away hides and skins for Laikipia and Kajiado. We'll do shoes. So the theory of change is therefore, how do we make the Maasai to sell shoes? Because that should be. You understand?
Yeah.
Output.
It's how we turn the skin and everything to a shoe production facility that is owned
by those who have the raw material to actually, which eventually ends up as that finished product.
Your cow into hide, into skin,
Yes,
into shoe.
the Maasai has no business to sell.
Just the cow alone.
They are not instead with the industry. They want to have a society that will be selling shoes. And how? We have about 2 million Kenyans who are sitting exams this year. A market. So the government would say now, we have the shoes from Maasai's, sell. If you go to cotton growers, it's not about giving seeds, because that is where we go wrong. No. It is the people in Busia, in Mombasa, Kwale, in our place in Kenya, selling clothing. It's
so
how
they run their own ginneries.
It's how
they go beyond the ginnery.
It's how you move them from the seed to that old man. They say this normal man on the streets saying, we sell textile to Kenya Army. That is a complete theory of change, meaning that is how you'll put money into people's pockets. And that is how, if you look at the architecture of the bottom-up model.
See, that's what it was. It has.
But you see, today...
But it has that, City. You had a conversation, I wasn't here that day, with the governor of Homa Bay, right?
Yes.
And she told you about what they're doing with cotton.
Yes.
And then what they're also doing with setting up ginneries. And then beyond the ginneries, what then the plan is. See, that's
Eric.
Bottom up.
Let me finish. Let me finish. Recently, I think the Minister of Trade was in Noiro launching industrial park. And he was happy to say we'll have this section of Chuakari, the other one for these, about 100 people. When you open an industrial park, what are you addressing? Standards. It is not how many will sit in those chairs to Goga Mambati. Sorry, it is at the end of the day, why we don't export is because we are not standardized. You make one wheelbarrow here, another one here, they don't look the same. They are fraternal twins.
They're not identical twins.
They are fraternal.
Yes.
So you cannot export. So I thought, when you talk of industrial park, you are addressing the issue of people in Gekomba here, those who make the pans and either Saduku or Shule, to standardize to the world's standards, so that now, 5 years from now, you can have that container destined to the USA. And the same quality from China is identical. So once you don't get the theory of change, palm oil, we use about 300 billion to import edible oils.
Every year.
We are supposed to do in Busia and that belt. It takes minimum 7 years to maturity. Show me one. Show me a pilot that is 4 years old.
Well, the government is 2 years old.
That's what I'm saying.
So bottom up is how do you?
So what you are saying is that if you want to, if we are going to have a Marshall Plan about our economy, we must tinker our thinking, our approach, strategy. Otherwise, we'll be here comparing Kibaki, Uhuru, Ruto, and the one who is going to come, because there was no disruption in thinking. Yeah. We've been traditional, even on economic modeling.
I wouldn't call it traditional, I'd call it retrogressive. Because if you're not thinking of the value add to whatever it is you produce, you're not making any progress.
And you must know where you are headed. We should not celebrate when a minister goes to ground break for aggregation centers. What is that you are aggregating? If it's Nyandarua, 2 years ago, you should be having upstream what you must aggregate when this building is complete.
Yes.
Not unless then our economy, I'm addressing about the economy, that we must have a different view of how we must tinker our agricultural sector, because by architecture, 70% of our households get their livelihood from agriculture. Even if we so brief, we are in 4th and 5th digital revolution. When we do digital superhighway, what is that we want to get? Does the government goes and say we have loaded 100,000 kilometers of fiber? No. We should be saying we have about 10, 5, 20 incubation centers. And also, let me go back to the Hustler Fund. What did we want? Because when the CS of Paranya got to the office, he said we must pay. But he didn't ask how many successful enterprises.
What's the impact?
Employing. For me, Hustler Fund ought to have had one node that goes to incubation. And so is the university model. It's all about economy.
Stupid.
The university model should have a model that gives the university a significant amount of money for incubating the business, so that when the students graduate, you go back and you have these ideas, technological incubate, and that's where we should be now with the new system for sure. Why would we be looking for it and we have Technical University of Nairobi?
And we are bringing in some Indian company to come and do this.
We have Multimedia University.
We do.
We train engineers.
Yes.
Why don't we domicile innovation there, so that all these solutions, technical, 100 billion to them, can imagine our university earning 100 billion, they become self-sustainable. So all those, I think we must change and tinker our economic model.
I get you now. Nimeelewa.
Nimeshika. Okay.
Kabisa. Very well said, very well explained. And now that tells us that gap between falling inflation and
high cost of living and no economic growth.
Shrinking pockets.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody's saying, please invite Dr. Nani again. You'll come back, please.
No worries.
Please. Dr. Kashe will be back, and yes, we need to actually look at and start reviewing. We'll look at, so are these sectors working? Are these things working? Dr. Steve Kashe, economist, business administration and management consultant, has been our guest. So in the next hour, we look at the new deputy president and what we expect of him as he takes over office, 9 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Professor Kithure Kindiki is set to be sworn in as the new deputy President today. The swearing-in ceremony will take place at the Kenyatta International Convention Center in Nairobi now. Meanwhile, Head of Public Service Felix Sigei has published the names of the members of the Assumption of Office of the Deputy President Committee, which will prepare for Professor Kithure Kindiki's swearing-in. The three-judge bench lifted an order blocking his swearing-in as Rigathi Gachagwa's replacement. And President William Ruto has appointed Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs and Diaspora Musalia Mudavadi as the acting Cabinet Secretary of Interior and National Administration. Ruto made the announcement through an executive order published in a Gazette notice. Mudavadi will succeed Professor Kithure Kindiki, who will be sworn in as Deputy President today. And the Ministry of Education has announced that the ongoing Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education exams shall proceed as planned despite today being declared a public holiday. Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migos, in a notice issued Thursday, said the late declaration of Friday as a national holiday to mark the swearing-in of Professor Kithure Kindiki as Deputy President would not interfere with the schedule for Form 4 candidates sitting for the KCSE exams. Siaso Gamba directed all stakeholders involved in conducting the KCSE examinations to report to their duties as usual to ensure a seamless exercise. Sounding a clarion call against female genital mutilation in Kenya, women's rights organization Nguvu Collective, KEWOPA and Anti-FGM Board Kenya joined hands to launch a collective fight to eradicate the human rights violations from the country through a creative campaign dubbed Break the Blade. Launching the campaign, Preeti Haman, CEO of Nguvu Collective, explained that efforts to end FGM cannot exist in isolation and that it is collective action. Bernadette Loloju, Anti-FGM Board CEO, on her part, said the vice to be curbed. It is important to ensure that girls are in school. The Wajir County Assembly, alongside 46 other county assemblies, have issued a warning of a possible adjournment of House sittings within the next 7 days if the missing Dela Anole Ward MCA Yusuf Hussein Ahmed is not found. The MCA was abducted 49 days ago on September 13th along Enterprise Road in Nairobi's industrial area, and his colleagues suspect he was taken in by the state for reasons that remain unclear. Wajir Speaker Abdinur Yusuf stated that the threat to one of us is a threat to all of us. Now, CAF has now issued a 7-day ultimatum for Ahmed's release, warning that failure to comply will result in the paralysis of county assembly sittings. And the second suspect in the Wells Fargo HR manager Willis Ayeko's murder, who escaped a police shootout Wednesday, has been shot dead in Kisumu. Police say the suspect attempted to shoot at the officers, prompting a shootout that left him dead. This comes after the female suspect, with whom he was traveling with, died from injuries sustained during a gun battle after police intercepted their vehicle. Meanwhile, investigations into Ayeko's murder continue, with the DCI having arrested the prime suspect in Dandora, Nairobi, after forensic evidence placed him at the scene of crime. The National Treasury is still holding more than 63 billion shillings owed to the counties for the months of September and October, according to Vice Chairperson of the Council of Governors, Dr. Mutai Kahiga. The cash crunch has also crippled the delivery of critical services, affecting thousands of residents. The cash crunch has made the payment of salaries for county staff a nightmare. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Yeah, traffic to the KICC, we can see it as we are watching. So the dignitaries, as they like to call themselves, are arriving at the KICC. Mwananchi is also there. We are seeing MPs, governors, senators all getting in and visiting the place. And so they are all going to witness the swearing in of the Deputy President Kithure Kindiki. This ceremony should take place between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. So there's time. The Chief Justice and the delegation from the judiciary, of course, are the ones. This is their event. The Deputy President is sworn in by the Chief Justice. So the Chief Justice and the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary would are expected to be there. So basically what we're saying is, in terms of barabara, If you are not one of those who has a government vehicle, do not go to City Hall Way with your vehicle. Do not go to Harambee Avenue with your vehicle. Do not go to Taifa Road with your vehicle. Do not go to Parliament Road with your vehicle. Just keep your vehicle elsewhere. Tembea na mguu. Hiyo ndio kazi yako kama mwananchi wa kawaida.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Yes. On to the final hour of Kenya's biggest conversation. This is the only way to start your day, whether it's a public holiday or not. Today is, we're calling it Kindikiwali Day. Yeah, it is the Happy Kindikiwali Day, the 1st of November 2024, as the new Deputy President Abraham Kithure Kindiki will be sworn in, taking oath of office at Tokyo Airport straight to Karen. His office will just be crossing over from one side. I think the driver will be confused on Monday when he'll just drive and try to enter into Harambee Avenue. Then he's told, no, Mweshimiwa, it's the other side, across, annex.
Lakini ndabadilishiwa gari. Gari si ile.
Driver ni yule.
Nimesema gari.
Gari obvious.
Because gari lazima wachie yule mtu mwingine.
Gari obvious.
Na uchukue ingine ambayo inatakana ni mzuri na hiyo ofisi. Yes.
Ile wazimu utaona hii Kenya, utaona akinunuliwa gari mpya.
Quickly. No, gari si pesa mingi vile bro.
No, ya nini? Gari ni pesa mingi.
No. In fact, gari kadhaa si pesa mingi vile.
Hey.
Larger scheme of things, Eric?
There's nothing, in the larger scheme of things.
No.
Kuna bwana. Listen, if you want to go and study in Ireland, you can do so actually. So you are about to sit your KCSE, or you're sitting your KCSE already. You have done your OA level exams, and you are thinking now the next place for me to go is where? Study in Ireland. And you're wondering, how does one go to Ireland? Which universities are in Ireland? I can tell you, there are several top universities in Ireland. Griffith College, University of Galway, University of Limerick, Technological University of the Shannon. As I say these things, you can start Googling, okay, so that you now find out what they offer. Dublin City University, Independent College, or University College Cork. If you Google any of them and you find, they are offering what I'd like to study, you can actually go and meet representatives from these leading Irish universities, get first-hand information on admission requirements, on scholarships and study programs, learn how Ireland's booming industries can offer a wealth of job opportunities for international graduates. In fact, what we're hearing is, for many of you, once you finish, the local industry is able to absorb you. In many of these industries, get expert visa guidance. So how do you go to learn more about this? It'll be on the 9th of November at the Gallant Mall. Not the full day. It's only between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. He come a swearing in. Between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. Come at 2 p.m. You will be late. How do you register? Invitation only. Entry is by invitation only. Cradel.com. CRAYDEL.com. Sindio?
So.
Very good. Now, let's talk about what's about to happen at the KICC. And we are joined by somebody who is representing happiness in the studio.
Not just happiness, complete joy.
Total joy. Wakili Elias Mutuma is with us this morning. Wakili, good morning.
Morning to you, Eric.
How are you doing?
I'm good, and I'm happy. Like
you are beaming, one.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm a modest person, but I'm happy.
Why?
I am happy.
Why?
I mean, tuko serikali. Tuko serikali. For the first time, the Baita nation is celebrating jubilations all over. It's not a small thing.
Yeah?
It's not a small thing.
Hata sisi tumepata.
Sisi tuko nayo.
Finally.
Hata sisi tuko nayo.
You remember the Nidhi votes, the famous Nidhi votes. They have come now to...
Yeah, we mentioned it.
You mentioned that.
Yeah, we mentioned it. Hii kura Nidhi. Sasa ndio imekuja kufanya kazi.
Finally, they have borne fruit.
Matunda
and Nidhi votes. Now, this is the time when you don't come from Meru County or from Tharaka County. No. You come from Meru region.
Meru region.
Mambo ya counties, no, it doesn't matter.
Kabisa.
Well, we've gone national. But by the time,
even Meru region stretches over even into Isiolo.
Yes. No, easy. When you talk governor, you talk county. Governors wako wengi. Counties ziko nyingi. Deputy ni
mmoja. Bas.
Hakuna mwingine.
Hakuna.
Na sisi wote wa Meru tunaelewana. Even though we are 6 or so different dialects.
Hakuna Meru wa tumbo na wa mgongo. Meru ni Meru. Kabisa.
Karibu sana wakili.
Asante sana Eric.
Now you can see the banner behind CT and the one behind me.
Yes.
Tala.
Yes.
Right? I'm sure you've heard of Tala before.
Yes, I have.
You have not downloaded Tala, have you?
I haven't, but I should be interested in downloading it.
Ebu CT will tell
Let's
you why
interest you further. You see, when people think of a fintech, they probably think of the rogue fintechs they've heard of, where a friend of yours was laid bare before the whole world about how he doesn't pay his loans. His relatives were calling and asking, why haven't you paid these people? Yes, Tala is a fintech, but what they did was they brought about what is almost akin to a revolution. Fintechs were not regulated. They led the charge to getting them regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya. They took it a step further. They registered with the Data Commission. So it means that the things that they do have to be in line with what the regulations of the Central Bank of Kenya demands.
Correct.
Okay. Now, a friend in need, they say, is a friend indeed. A friend indeed is a friend in need, and a friend in need is a friend indeed.
Correct.
Emergencies don't come knocking, and they don't give you a timetable that on this day I will come. It's an emergency because you don't expect it. Tala becomes that friend when you're not really sure what to do, where to turn, and you need a quick fix, and you need money right there and then. And the money they offer is something that gives you the latitude of payment. You can start from day 1 up to day 60. 60 days, that is the extent to which they will lend you. And 1,000 up to 50,000, that's the range. All you need to do is download from Google Play, download Tala. All the details that I say will be corroborated, and then you will know exactly what to do and how to go about it. Yes, but this is wasema Waswahili walisema hakiba haiozi. Yes, this is what, for that moment when you really do not know where to turn, they will come in very handy. Yes.
Sounds like a plan.
Yes, it's a plan.
It's a plan.
Yes, and they'll go even beyond the emergency. They will help you when you plan for the things you want to do that are important to you. Yes.
Sure.
So just go to, if you have an Android phone, go to the Google Play.
It's an iPhone.
Sasa hapo hatujafika, tutakuja hapo.
Usijali, tuko njiani.
Mko njiani.
Have no fear.
Okay.
Yes.
But because you are a lawyer and you have many phones.
Yes.
Tumia ile Android. Sawa.
Ile Android.
Sawa.
Download Tala.
Sawa, I will.
Sawa.
Asante.
City. The proverb.
Our proverbs for this week, and the final proverb from this week is from the state of Libya. A fascinating country. It has had its ups and downs. It was an Italian colony. They had a kingdom. There are those who argued at a dictatorship. There are those who said they had a progressive socialist state. And so here they are today. It was a center of early Christianity. Most people don't even believe that, but they did. You've heard of Simon of Cyrene. Sindio? Cyrene, actually, is in Libya. Eric, you asked me a question. That's what I told you. That there are 3 areas.
There's a Tripolitan.
Yes, the Fezzan and the Cyrenaica.
And I asked you, where is Benghazi?
Cyrenaica.
Oh, Benghazi now is the Cyrenaica.
Yes.
Okay.
Precisely.
Okay.
Okay? The proverb. Fish eats fish, and he who has no might dies.
Fish eats fish, and he who has no might dies.
Yes.
Fish eats fish, and he who has no might dies.
Yes.
My daughter had this proverb when we were coming. She's at the parking. Her name is Sheila. And her interpretation, which is what I want to adopt, not mine, is that it's survival for the fittest.
Oh, how very accurate.
And I think Sheila, I want to stop there.
Sheila, you got it.
That Sheila is absolutely spot on.
Sheila, you got it.
You have an extremely intelligent daughter.
Santi.
Yes.
Thank you.
Alipata hiyo kama ni mitiani.
Yes.
Of 100?
Yes.
120 over
You left her
100.
downstairs?
Yeah, she's downstairs.
She's listening?
Yes, she is.
Sheila, just get out, go to the Askari, tell them to bring you to 2nd floor.
Please, yes. Tell them your father's in the studio.
Yes.
We want you to watch this thing.
Please.
Close. Please. Fanya hivyo sasa hivi.
Kuja Sheila.
Santi.
So, Wakili, just from how you've celebrated, there are people who are saying now this guy, there are several things that are coming out here. Number one, hii ukabila hii itatumaliza. People saying that it's our turn to eat, ni yetu. It's like it's going to benefit us as a people. How will it benefit us as a people? Number two, this whole process has very many legal questions about how we've arrived to where we are today. And surely we should be standing by the rule of law and the constitution. So let's start with the legal part. Hii ingine ukabila utadili nao baadaye. The legal part. Are you satisfied that every dot, cross has been ticked and dot has been eyed?
T's have been crossed and I's have been dotted.
Yes. Those ones.
Yes.
Are you satisfied that all of that has happened up to now?
It's very difficult, and it cannot be a straight answer like you want it to be. One is that undoubtedly yesterday was a beehive of activities, at least for 3 institutions: judiciary, Office of the President, popularly known as the OP, and the government printer. And we experienced, efficiency of the highest level that we've never been seen. The High Court began their session at around 2:30, and they were done by around 5. Soon thereafter, we witnessed the composition of the Assumption of Office of the President Committee, which gazetted the members. They were able to meet within a record 1 hour or 2 hours, discharge their mandate, gazetted today as a holiday. The venue of the swearing in, the government printer was on standby. So one lesson we are learning there is that indeed things can work if we want them to work. But coming back to your question, whether all the T's have been crossed and all the I's have been dotted, I choose to look at it this way. That it's a good way of looking at means of solving our problems. And that solution is in our constitution. So if you want to remove someone from office, there's a provision for that in the constitution. If the person who has been removed from office is not happy with that process, they move to court. They use the same constitution that has been used to remove them to remain in power through conservatory orders. And if someone wants to lift those orders, they go back to the same constitution and they lift those orders. To me, it means that we do not need to go outside the constitutional means of handling our issues. We do not need to go through extra constitutional systems like what we've been experiencing, especially for those in power. I mean, extrajudicial killings, forced disappearances, torture, for you to achieve, certain things. Go back to the constitution. So I am not going to sit here and say that all the T's were crossed, all the I's were dotted. But what I know is that every single person who has been involved in this whole event has used the constitution. To me, that gives me satisfaction that indeed whatever you want to achieve.
They've based it on the Constitution.
On the Constitution.
Now, their interpretation of the Constitution our interpretations may vary.
Yes.
But all of us at least are quoting
the Constitution.
The Bible.
Exactly.
Okay.
The judges are quoting the Bible. Parliament is quoting the Bible. IBC is quoting the Bible. Gachagua is quoting the Bible. Kindiki is quoting the Bible. I mean, the Constitution. So everyone. So it has actually become. It has actually become our Bible.
Yes.
And that is what I want to encourage Kenyans to do. Every time you have an issue, ask yourself: is it an issue that has a solution in the Constitution? So whether the T's have been crossed or the I's have been dotted is not...
And it's still a matter before the courts.
It is.
Anyway.
Yes.
So let's actually now clear the air there.
Mm-hmm.
What the court's decision was yesterday was about the conservatory orders only.
Yes.
There are various other applications by the former deputy president that are still before court.
Yes.
What are those about, the pending matters?
First, let me explain this for the viewers and listeners. One is that when you move to court, you file a substantive case that is supposed to be heard at the conclusion of the entire trial process. But in between, you're allowed to bring in interim applications or seeks or prayers or asks that cannot wait until the end of the trial process. And the aim of bringing these interim applications is for you to deal with certain issues that are urgent, that must be dealt with, and a solution given as we wait for the main trial, because they may not wait. For instance, the former deputy president asked the court to conserve the status quo. Conserving the status quo means that you allow him to continue serving as a deputy president, as the court ventilates on the dispute that he is before it. But that was one application, for instance, which was dispensed with yesterday. So that means that the issue of conservatory orders has been cleared. But there are other applications by other parties. For instance, we have applications for joinder. We have people who are not necessarily principal parties in this dispute, but they have sought to be enjoined for various reasons. Those applications, some of them are pending. I'm sure you saw a gentleman called Dr. Ombaso, and there was another lady who sought to be enjoined in these proceedings to protect the public interest. That is one of such application. The other application that I know is pending, or rather that was dealt with, is the application by Deputy President Gachagua on whether the Deputy Chief Justice had the mandate to constitute the bench. We also have an application to amend the pleadings. Remember, the first dispute that was before court was purely whether National Assembly and Senate conducted itself in a constitutional manner. Later on, there were some developments that necessitated the amendment of those pleadings. For instance, Professor Kindiki was brought into the picture. He was not in the picture by the time they were moving to court. So there is an application to amend the petition now to include Professor Kindiki as a party and to bring on issues of his qualifications and eligibility to serve as a deputy president. So those are some of the issues that are still pending and will be dealt with in the fullness of time, and that's why the court has set aside 7th as the day when they will have a mention to just do these other issues.
So is it possible that at the end of this hearing, let's say, Rigathi Gachagua has gone to court to say, I was not procedurally removed from office. If the courts find that they agree with him, that he was not procedurally removed from office, what happens?
The court is never short of remedies or reliefs to be given to a party. As long as it finds that there was some violation, then the court is given an opportunity by the Constitution to fashion a suitable relief at the moment when that judgment will be delivered. So the question would be, what would be the most suitable relief 2 years from now or 8 months from now when that judgment will be rendered? Is it to reverse the process and have the deputy president now, that is Honorable Kindiki, exit, and so that we can reinstall Gachagua. I want to give you an example of the Wajir matter. This is a matter that the deputy governor of Wajir took over office after the substantive governor was removed from office.
Okay.
Later on...
So let's start with this.
Yes.
There was an impeachment of the governor.
There was an impeachment of the governor.
Which was upheld at the Senate.
Correct.
And the deputy governor then was assumed.
Yes, so by
office.
the time the ousted governor went to court to get conservatory orders, these guys had already proceeded and
sworn in a deputy.
So we had a governor already in place. There is a whole mechanism of now removing that new governor, because you cannot just tell him exit. So that case was done at the High Court level, at the Court of Appeal, and it ended up at the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court found that indeed his removal from office was not in tandem with the law and the Constitution. And the court said the remedy that we find to be suitable is for this person to go back to serve in the position he was serving before the violation took place.
Right.
So when he went back, there was another governor in office.
Who was his former deputy?
But the process was reversed, and the deputy went back to be a deputy.
It actually happened?
It happened.
So did he take a new oath of office?
He took a new oath of office.
So the former ousted governor comes back and takes an oath as governor?
Yes.
And the deputy governor rescinds the oath of
yes,
office as governor.
And assumes
that took the oath
of the deputy governor, which was a mess. So I think it was a mess.
Why do you say it was a mess?
It was a mess because, remember, in the event of a governor, a new governor takes the reins of leadership and is allowed to undo whatever the previous governor had done, including, sacking all the CECs, coming up with new policies. And this happens for a period of 1 year or 2 years. So when the former governor now resumes, what do we do with these people who have been appointed?
So you reverse it.
You sack
Everything was reversed. So you just reverse.
But I'm looking now at the public interest in this. So what then? This is now the answer to your question. It will revolve around public interest at the time. Does public interest tilt in favor of now removing Kindiki from office after he has served that long and bringing back the deputy? And what would be the effect of doing that in terms of the working relationship between now the deputy, who shall be installed by court? How do they work with this principle?
When you give the example of the precedent that has been set by the matters revolving around the county of Wajir, and you ask the effect, the public interest, yes, there's the public interest for the citizenry of Wajir. That's where the biggest impact is.
Correct.
For the rest of us, it's something to study, to learn, to understand. It's a precedent.
Yes.
A deputy president, it's a completely different kettle of fish.
I agree.
Because now this is a national issue.
Correct.
Now, a national issue, my friend, this one is very uncharted waters.
So there'll be a conflict here between public interest and safeguarding the rights of this individual.
Yes.
Who the Constitution says has a right.
Yes.
And if the courts then find that his rights were violated, can you say that, well, it's just you one, but you see there are 50 million others who would, how would you balance that and say, your rights?
Actually, that would be the ideal scenario. And even as the courts sat yesterday, I believe that is what guided them. We have the rights of one individual because, to be fair, the Constitution provides for conservatory orders, to ensure that the stratum of the case is not destroyed. So in many instances, court will be inclined towards issuing a conservatory order because it is easier that way, because you do not, disturb a lot of established norms. But in this case, I think the court went beyond to look at the public interest. In whose favor does it tilt? Is it in favor of this one individual whom, and they said so, his right might have been violated. We might actually come later and find that his removal was unconstitutional. But as of now, before we do that, is it proper to maintain him in office when the court has even taken judicial notice, they may not have said so, that he's not even in talking terms with his boss? Okay? What about the security of this country? This is a person who will be sitting in the Security Council, making decisions. All right. So if that is the case, what favors the public? Is it to ensure this individual remains in office for his own sake, because his rights might have been violated, or public interest demands that we put now public interest over individuals' right? And I think that is what the court did.
You know, that now muddies the waters even more, in my opinion. Because public interest, which public?
Who is the public?
And the measure of this interest of the public. What are the indicators? What are the tenets by which we try and determine what is in the public interest? Because if you are talking about the violation of an individual's right, that in my mind would resonate more with the citizenry, because that individual is also me. If I have a precedent where someone's individual's rights have been given what I may call a very comprehensive hearing, that precedent will serve me as an individual.
Correct.
Because it is now something that is a reference point. Okay? But because this individual is a deputy president, the point I'm making becomes even more serious. And I mean the word serious deliberately, because then we are saying that this position that we understand to be fairly sacrosanct is one where other interests other than what it is that is being said are at play and can bring about the removal of this individual. So certainly the issues that we're dealing with acquire more legs. In fact, some of them even acquire wings. Now, the enormity of it is something that one cannot understate.
Correct.
Yes.
Well, I do not admire the judges who delivered this ruling. The task on their shoulders was quite heavy. Whatever holding they did, they were bound to, annoy and please certain sections of the public. That's why City is right, that the public depends on who sits on whatever divide here. But fortunately, in this instance, the person who makes a determination on where public interest lies is the person sitting on that bench. So the three individuals, the two gentlemen and the lady, made a determination on where public interest lie. Because at the end of the day, a judgment is usually the opinion of the judge, honestly. And that's why that opinion, when it goes up the ladder, it can be overturned, because you find a different opinion. Yes. So public interest in this instance is the opinion of the judge. Yes.
And they have discretion.
And they have discretion to do that. And we've given them powers to do that. And we must allow them to exercise it on our behalf.
Okay. Yes. Let's take a break. 27 minutes to 10. We are discussing the assumption of office of Abraham Kithure Kindiki as Deputy President. Public interest versus legal precedent. What comes first? What plays what role? Wakili Elias Mutuma is our guest. He is... from which country are you? County?
I'm from Meru County.
Yeah, we've discussed Meru issues with you.
Yes.
But this time it doesn't matter. The boundary has now just...
There is no boundary. There is no boundary. We say Meru ni moja.
Ukipeta Runyenje.
Uko Meru.
Uko Meru. Umeingia. And the entirety of that nation is saying, Nyeri Mulima.
Yes.
This is where the Mulima is.
Yes.
These are the people in Rodemeto. Rodegeti. They cannot be saying they're Mulima the same as the people who are just there.
By the way, if you have an aerial view of the mountain, 70% is in Meru. That's a fact.
It is Meru.
It is absolutely true.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Hi everyone. You may have heard about the official Study in Ireland fair happening next month on November 9th. Can you tell us what the students can expect?
University College Cork, or UCC as we call it, is situated in the heart of Cork City. We are the second largest city in Ireland. We have a wide variety of undergraduate and master courses in UCC. UCC was voted the 6th most sustainable university in the world, something that we're very proud of. And also, we were voted the best student campus in the Education Awards in 2021 and 2022. We look forward to seeing you in Ireland, in Cork, in UCC.
That sounds fantastic. So everyone make sure to visit the official Study in Ireland Fair at the Gallant Mall, Parklands on November 9th. Make sure to register by visiting www.cradle.com or call 0799 000 444.
I know mko na talents, lakini mko na vibe. It's time to discover East Africa's newest talent. Ni muda wa Kenya kuchachisha. Anguka nayo kati toka, utuonyeshe hizi stands zako. Africa's biggest talent show, Bongo Star Search, is coming to Kenya. Stand a chance to win amazing prizes and work with the biggest names in entertainment. Majudges wakiongozwa na Rita, Master J, Salama Jabir, and our very own Sanaipe Itande watakuwa pale tukicheka na tukilia. Tulieni mpangwe wasee. From majenzi hadi wakoro, students na corporates, jitokeze tujue nani mzii. Tukutane Kenya National Theatre on Friday 29th and Saturday 30th November. Kosa uchekwe brother. BSS Season 15, sasa Beyond Borders. Si mchezo. Tune in to ST Swahili Channel 160 or 400 every Sunday at 9 p.m. and on Wednesday for an extra highlights show at 8:30 p.m. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
The weather with SpiceFM.
Okay, on this Kindiki Diwali day, it's sunny in Nairobi at 20. Some good temperature, for Abraham Kithure Kindiki to say aye. And let's hope he does not miss the words like the other guy. What he did on that day. 20 degrees and partly sunny in Nairobi at highs of 26. Kakamega sunny at 24, highs of 29. It's sunny now in Mombasa at 30. It's also sunny in Malindi at 30. 26 and sunny in Kisumu, 21. And sunny in Nakuru. Sunny in Nyeri at 20. Eldoret sunny at 20. It's cloudy in Kinshasa at 25. It's been raining all morning in Kampala at 22. It's raining heavily in Lagos at 26. It's cloudy in Addis at 17. Sunny in Mogadishu at 30. Sunny in Johannesburg at 19. Sunny in Dar es Salaam at 27. It's cloudy in Paris at 8. It was hazy earlier in Beijing at 20. Now it's mostly sunny at 21. It's cloudy in London at 12. And it's mostly cloudy in New York at 21.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, so we continue our conversation with Wakili Elias Matuma, and we're looking at the assumption of office of Abraham Kithure Kindiki as Deputy President. That ceremony, people are gathered, so we can see the ambassadors, high commissioners are there. We are seeing members of parliament are there. We're seeing members of the cabinet have arrived. The members of the public are also there. I don't know who's being let in, whether it's just anybody who's coming in. But we know that the dignitaries are there. They're seated. Now it's just waiting for Mr. Man, the man of the moment. Who will come first, do you think, City? Do you think the president will come and then the deputy president will come in? Do you think Kindiki will come and then the president will come? I mean, who do you think will arrive here before the other?
My focus is this. At some point, we'll see all of this. Okay? And we will be happy. Should the president decide to come first, we've given him permission. It is okay. If Abraham wants to come first, we've given him permission also. It is okay. Yes.
As long as both of them are
this is Kenya.
Yes.
Okay? And he the president of Kenya and then deputy of Kenya. That's okay.
Na sasa watakaa hapo mbele pamoja. Because we've seen in the swearing in of the president and the deputy president, of course, it's because both of them are being sworn in. They both sit right there at the front. And then next to them is the CJ, the CRJ, the Chief of Defense Forces, and all are there. Sasa hapa, Ruto atakaa kwa crowd ndio Kithure akae pale mbele.
He has already been sworn in.
Yeah, so he doesn't need to be at the front. Pale kwa podium.
No. All these dignitaries who are there, including CJ, na watu wengine ambao lazima wa witness this sort of thing, President has to be there, my friend.
Yeah, where?
Yes. See on the podium.
Why?
Iko namna hii, okay? The very concept of a podium is for you to distinguish who is what.
High table.
Wananchi watukufu ndio hawa tunaona kwa screen, okay? And we will see you, will not see you, doesn't matter. But pale the focus will be on this one. So if you didn't know who was what and where and who, take time please today and you will see. You will also see where the ambassadors sit. They're not going to be mingling and commingling. There's a place they'll be told, Mkai Hapa. It's what is normally done. And to understand it, look at any national day and look at the way people are seated. Okay? Believe me, the pomp. Yes, pomp and ceremony that accompanies an occasion like this is immense. Okay? But it brings a question that we must ask. Our understanding of nationality. What is our concept? How do we understand nationality? Does my community and the nationality of my community, because we're also all nations, which takes precedence when we think of nationality? When we think
you Meru first and then Kenya?
Yes. No, in fact, let's be precise. Are you Tarakanithian,
are you
Nithi or Tharaka? Or are you Meru? Or just get clan, but what are you before you now become a Meru? Okay?
No, you're Tharaka first.
And then you join Murima. And then now
you become now Kenyan. Yes. And then East African and then African.
Those ones can come later. After all, we're in Africa. What is our understanding of it?
That answer is in the Constitution because the Constitution identifies family as the smallest unit of the society. So that before you become a Tharakanithian or a Marian or a Kenyan, okay, where
you are Mutuma son of?
You are Mutuma son of Gishuru, okay? And from there now, you identify how many other people identify with me, and you'll go to your clan. Okay, first you begin with your nuclear family, then you go to your extended, then you go to your clan, then you go to your tribe, then you go to your county, then you go to your country. And I do not think there's anything really wrong with that kind of understanding. But then you shouldn't use that to exclude any other person. It is good today for the people of Tharaka-Nithi and Meru, but that cannot mean that now we have to look down upon the others. And that's why Professor Kindiki is work clearly cut out, because people will be watching him to see whether he will walk in the footsteps.
See, the thing is, the sad bit is that this other guy has been removed from office because of identifying with the smallest unit, family, and then going and saying region and Murima, right? And if this is the outcry that has seen him leave office, and even public outcry, the public issues that have come up all the time is that this person was just standing there and being tribal, right?
Correct.
Now, Kithure Kindiki is also a politician.
Yes.
And he's a politician from Tharaka-Nithi. He's also a politician from Mount Kenya. And he's a politician from Kenya. And he has ambition, definitely. Now that he has risen to this point, does that mean that he wouldn't want to succeed his boss and friend, William Ruto? He would. He needs to have a base. How is he going to operate with that? Remember, Kithure Kindiki never said no when certain members of parliament met somewhere in Nyandarua and said that he is going to be our regional spokesman.
Correct.
Right? At that point, he never came out to release the statements that he had released earlier, saying parochial, regional, tribal is parochial conversation. When he was endorsed as the regional spokesman, he kept quiet.
I think that's the point at which he identified himself as a true politician. Yes, because the truth is, any accusation that was leveled against the immediate former deputy president, in my opinion, is the height of hypocrisy. In fact, you put a cherry on top of it. That thing, it is just, it paints the worst form of deceit that even politicians should be beyond even politicians who by nature are fairly despicable individuals. I'm saying this because why are you lambasting someone for actually championing an ideal that every Kenyan identifies with? Why? Why?
Let me say this. That is what we were told. But I tend to think, and I refuse to believe, that is the reason why the deputy went home. That's a fact. We have heard the former deputy president speak and tell us certain things. But there is one side that is silent about it. And last time I checked, when you walk into an accident scene, the person who is wailing most and the person who is quiet, maybe the person who is quiet is the most critically
That's the
injured.
one you tend to attend to.
So here, we were busy listening to the deputy president tell us all manner of things. But there's one person who has not spoken at all.
His boss.
His boss. What is it that makes him remain so silent about this whole issue? I do not want to believe that it was purely because of the shareholding narrative. There must have been something else.
Deep and personal.
And until we get that side of the story, we should not think that we know what ailed these two. But to answer your question, what the Deputy President Gachagua was saying is that I am being hounded out of office for championing for the rights of my region. But his accusers were saying that's not why we are getting you out. It's because you excluded others. So it is okay to identify with your community, with your region, with your people, but not to the exclusion of others. So it is okay to argue that we have shares in this government, but don't tell Eric that you have none. Okay, that I will eat first, then you'll eat second. I think that's the distinction.
That's where the issues came.
That's where the issue came.
And why are those issues anyway? Because does that not represent the reality of our politics?
That it is, but there are things that you don't say.
Probably it's a reality.
You let us think and imagine and
that
perceive.
is what pains people.
Yes.
Why shouldn't you say it?
Because we are not ready for the truth.
Probably that's what pains people. Because you've experienced it before. Because you've seen what exclusion does.
Yes.
Because you have suffered exclusion. And now when you see it being so blatantly put out, it's like, come on. I thought we were getting out of this. As we speak here, by the way, Kithure Kindiki has gone to Harambee House, where he's been received by the Assumption of Office Committee, led by the Secretary to the Cabinet, Nancy. And then we've also seen the PS for Interior saying, well done, boss. Shuangalesha mdosi yani uniwachie hiyo kiti. Mbia mdosi.
Si ile kiti yako nayo imetoka.
Wacha nipande tu nyuko.
No, ile kiti yako nayo ni sawa.
Ni sawa.
Si the account holder. Hiyo ni sawa.
Okay.
Habana, hiyo ni sawa.
Hiyo ni sawa.
Now they are walking to KICC. All right. So we have seen. So this is what is going to happen. Bwana City. It is Kindiki that arrives before
El Presidente.
So tumeona, wacha tuendelee kuendelea.
Though the president has no role to play in this ceremony, honestly.
Anaweza kosa kuja.
Anaweza kosa kuja na iendelee. Anaweza kosa kuja.
Bro, lazima akuje.
He should be the one who arrives there.
Lazima akuje.
The guest of honor today is this German.
Yes. Let me tell you, this is Kenya, okay?
Mudosi lazima ijulikane yeye ndio Mudosi.
Lazima akuje.
And you must know I am the one.
And Kindiki will have the pleasure of inviting the president to the podium
to speak.
To speak.
Lazima today. Bro, tuanga story na wananchi, yes.
Kabisa.
Waambie why me.
Yes, waeleze ama waambie hiyo itakuja. Yes.
Okay. They've had a long relationship though.
It would depend.
They go a long way.
If you actually can look at Kindiki's, once he went to the Senate and he became the majority leader. Ruto's hand must have been there. He became the deputy speaker. Ruto's hand must have been there. And that's why Uhuru did not even blink in getting him out of it. Talk! Right? Even Kithure, all these opinion polls showing that Kithure is, neck and neck with Rigiji. I wondered where those opinion polls came from suddenly. Hii mambo ya Nidhi votes. Nidhi votes. Opinion polls showed that Kithure Kindiki is neck and neck with Rigathi Gachagua, was preferred running mate.
Ilikuwa story ajabu.
Nidhi votes. Did you see it recently? Had you heard before the newspaper headline? Had you even contemplated that Kithure Kindiki could actually be like the popular guy to represent Mount Kenya in this ballot?
No. That was a bolt of lightning from the blue. Because I'm thinking, okay. Because you look at the region and you're saying, okay, kuna kraitu hapa, okay, sawa, ayuko.
Kuna Peter Munya.
Kuna Peter Munya actually. I mean, come to think of it. Yes. In fact, then you look again and you say, okay, tutoke huku kidogo tuende huku chini. There are many people. Kindiki was not on that list. So you're asking me what I...
Hata umenisahau na hata mimi nilikuwa hapo. Hata ungeniweka hapo.
We never saw any of this coming.
No, we didn't. But there's something that I must say with regards to our president. Something that I have observed. He seems to keep his word to the people who he feels have been his supporters.
Yeah.
That is something that I have observed, and is something that one must speak of positively.
Oh, yes.
Yes. You may not particularly like the individual, and you may think this is the most ill-suited person for this job, but...
Hakuruki?
No. He doesn't... It's something that most politicians do. They get that job, and my friend umesaulika kitambo, not a simu
I have talked to a few friends who are close to him, and they confirm that fact, that he hates betrayals. I mean, if you're his friend, you're his friend. And that's why I keep on asking what happened between him and Rigiji. Because if that is his character, then
it's clear, because
he should not have dropped
believe
it.
me,
There's something.
Look at the positive side of some of these despicable characters who at least allegedly had done X, Y, and Z. Somebody knows exactly what you've done and who you are, and still stands by you. Correct. Now that is not easy to find in a politician.
Yes.
A politician will abandon you and tell you, Nani, hata wewe unaona hii mzigo mnakuja nayo. We really can't.
True.
A deal that's made. Like, remember what Dr. Alfred Mutua told us? The kind of conversation that they had with William Ruto, then Deputy President, that they met. William called Mutua and told him, let's meet, let's talk. And when they met, they entered a vehicle, and William was driving, and it was just William and Alfred. And they drove to the CBD, and they sat somewhere, and William was explaining to Mutua, this is what I have, this is what I'm thinking, this is my vision, this is what I want to do. They come, let's work together. And Alfred was like, so what do I get? I said, you tell me. And I'm thinking, this may be this, maybe this, maybe the other. And that deal sees Alfred Mutua as cabinet secretary even today, even after a reshuffle. And you'd assume it's the same kind of deal with Amason Kingi, it's the same kind of deal with Musalia Mudavadi, with all of them.
Yes.
Even with Justin Muturi.
Yes.
It's the same.
Correct.
Even though Justin Muturi at some point was saying, as Attorney General, hata sijui kama naenda kwa ofisi but you're not longer AG, but chukua hii ministry. We had a deal. We had an agreement. Same thing with Abraham. You're my guy. We've gone to The Hague. We've come back. You're my guy.
Yes. And remember, many people do not know that one soon-to-be deputy president was one of William Ruto's lawyers at The Hague.
Yes.
In case one forgets. Now, that sort of situation binds people very, very closely. And again, what I'm saying, he does not seem to forget. He remembers. This expediency that characterizes our politics and our politicians, he seems not to have it. Yes.
Which is something very positive.
Oh, it's extremely positive.
And rare for politicians.
My friend. It's almost...
So if William can keep a promise...
Why? Has he not kept the promise?
Or is he keeping the promise?
Do you know?
Maybe this is the thing then. That if this is the character of this person, then we could argue that probably what you see happening is him struggling so hard to keep the promise.
Do you know, that is what I was thinking about yesterday night and this morning. I was saying something which doesn't quite gel. Why this thing that we characterize the president as saying is a man who doesn't keep his word or his promises. And even now, then I said, but what if what you're hearing is what he intends to do, and for some reason he's unable to do it? Because he's saying, look, I'd like to do this. Because our president is sane. He is not somebody whom we should consign to a loony bin. He's not that person. So what is it that makes the person, or where's the disconnect between what you know you want to do? For someone to have convinced so many people about his intention, man, there was some sincerity somewhere.
I think to be fair to the man, maybe we've not been patient enough with him. Maybe in the fullness of time. I want to look at Kibaki. I was around then. I don't think during his first term we were able to appreciate him at all.
People voted that guy out of office.
Out of office. In 2005, 2007, we voted him out of office. Clean. I mean, he was hated. Let's be very fair.
And why was he hated?
People didn't understand him.
People did not understand him.
Yes,
so perhaps
they didn't even understand what he was doing.
Exactly. So perhaps we do not understand William Ruto until at the tail end. Maybe that's when we'll be able to see, kumbe.
Even Kibaki's
backyard
did not support him.
Yes.
There was a clear rebellion. Clear.
Yes. So it is not unique with William Ruto. So based on what we've said about him, a man who does not forget, a man who keeps his promises, at least with his friends, what makes it then so difficult
to keep the promise
with the people
who gave him the job?
Exactly.
Even those of us who didn't quite vote for
that
him.
question can only be answered at the fullness of time, not now.
Do we have the time, though?
Yes.
Thank you, Eric. That's the question. And this time, I mean, what is the timeline for these things?
How much time are we giving this guy? Right?
Yeah, I know. But the issue is that
Kingi didn't have to wait long.
Yes.
Parliament was coming. Okay, I have the numbers. We said, you, Speaker. Kingi got it. Wetangula got his. I'm forming a cabinet.
And Wetangula, we are told, keeps getting his.
The rest of us, how long are we to wait?
Yes.
We do not know how long, but you cannot, certainly this conversation cannot augur very well.
Even
with
now,
someone who
has
is
gotten theirs.
Exactly.
Okay. Bado Sisi.
Yes.
Who are the sovereign?
We are still waiting.
Yes.
Certainly, I understand. And people who are sleeping angry, people whose cost of living has gone high, cannot buy this narrative here. They want it done now. I mean, ukiwa na watoto nyumbani, you cannot tell them, you know what, I am saving. So today, you're not having dinner, you're not having breakfast. They want it now. Yeah, they want it now. So I think what we need to keep on doing is to remind, to push, and to demand that promise until it is fulfilled.
Do you think he needs to explain himself better then?
I don't think people are ready for explanations. People just want results.
Explaining is what he's been doing.
Yeah, and I think he should actually now reduce on that and start
making more promises.
Sure.
But the other thing that I also consider, Eric, this presidency is harder than we imagine. You know why? I also sometimes think that these things that we blame President Ruto for are not necessarily his doing. You know, if you take the view that a presidency is a continuum, positively someone can start a process that matures during someone else's presidency, and they're the ones who take credit for it. That's one view. But there's a different view. Somebody may start a process that is retrogressive to the nation, but it matures during someone else's presidency. And so you bear the brunt of it.
Exactly.
So it is very likely that scenario is probably part of what is playing out.
I agree 100%. Like, for instance, the budget that we are now using, the 15% that goes to the counties, whose budget is it?
It's not Williams.
It is not Williams. Yet we will blame him for that. Counties will be like, we are not getting enough because of money that was allocated 2 years ago. So I think you're right to that extent. And to me, we need to be more understanding that we are, but we do not lose sight.
We're very understanding. Please understand that.
Yes.
We are actually very understanding.
Yes.
We want more understanding.
More understanding.
And you must also understand, since we're on this understanding agenda, that we as a nation, we like complaining and whining. It's the part
But what happens when we stop complaining and whining?
You focus.
We'll fight.
No, you don't have to go that route. You look, we already look for solutions even as we whine and complain. One could say it's relief for us.
Yes.
But that whining and complaining means we rarely look at the good. We focus on the things that irritate us immediately, and that's the focus. And yet, there's a lot more happening.
I agree, 100%.
Wakili, thank you very much for joining us. Are you heading to KICC?
No, nataka kuenda kuorganize mbuzi Meru. So, lazima tukue na homecoming.
Kwa hiyo hii ni long weekend.
Long weekend.
Yes. Eric, have you noticed? He's organizing the mbuzi. Umesikia?
Hapa unajua Karen lazima itakaswe na kashamba.
Yes.
Maprobox zile zinatoka Meru saa hii. Karen.
Na Mahirax.
Wakili Ellis Mutuma, thank you very much for joining us. And thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation. We wish you all the best. Have what we call a happy November. Have a happy festive season. Enjoy this day, your holiday. Back on Monday. It's 10 a.m.